Hello and welcome. We are live on Entirely Live. Welcome, y'all. Thanks for coming by my channel today. Hey, we're going to have a little chat with my friend DK Trades. He's checking in from the garden. We're going to get to
Hello,
know
everyone.
him and get to know his grow. So, what's up, DK?
Oh, just chilling, just trying to get chat up right now for everyone. I think I just got it going, so that's great.
Awesome.
Oh,
Awesome. Let me pull out chat as well. And let me get this share. I forgot to share for everybody. Let me get the shares out there. And please like and subscribe and share if you would like to. If you think someone's going to enjoy the show today, we're going to hang out and get to know the panel and DK.
oh, well, DK just got a bunch of distillate all over his finger, so that's lovely.
Oh,
But I'll have a dab lined up right away here if I don't
a
ingest most of
gooey
it topically.
dab.
Exactly. So I figured I'd
Gooey,
change up the
gooey.
scenery a little bit and come outside and talk about the outdoor adventure I got going on here a little bit more and go a little bit from there.
Well, it's beautiful, man. You make me jealous right now. Those cannabis plants look amazing behind you. Wow, wow, wow.
Well, it is all thanks to the hugelkultur beds and the whole regenerative style, the natural farming way is what we've been doing lately, and it's been working great. These ones have just seen a few aerobic and anaerobic teas, along with they've been brewing up some specialty microbes kind of on like a recirculating manner. So like we take some either mammoth pea or microbial mass or any of the bacillus species, and you add them into a bucket, whatever size fits appropriately for your property or your garden. You add in, I think, 2.5 tablespoons of molasses per 5 gal, roughly. Double check those numbers, please, because I'm generally always off on the numbers, but something close to that. And I believe you can add in to like the kelp meal, or there's a couple other things you can add for a food source. But anyways, you stir that every couple of hours or add an air stone in. And in ideal conditions, around 30 degrees, we've been told that population will double every 2 hours. So it's obviously going to be dependent on exactly what species are there. But for lots of these products, it'll brew up most of the diversity in there, and you can take that little tiny bottle and make it 1,000 liters if you need to. So we've been doing that lots and kind of adding those a little more freely than we normally would due to them generally being expensive. But with this little brewing trick and feeding them and letting them expand, it's been going great.
Isn't that amazing, all the tricks we've been learning, DK?
Oh, it's just incredible. As long as you keep an open mind and you're ready to listen to all these different people out there with these just amazing techniques and tricks and hacks, like you'll be learning every single day. I love it. So, I mean, I recently even tried for the first time. We have an abundance of raspberries, and we went strawberry picking and got far too many. So we shared a bunch with our neighbors, and any of the rotten ones or anything we had left over, I used to make some FFJs. The raspberry ones seem to be going quite well. The strawberry one's getting a little bit of mold on the top of it. So I'm not super familiar with it. So I'm going to be asking people that are much more familiar and sound with the techniques, kind of what they think. And we'll see if we can either maybe cap it with some more brown sugar, and that will ease away the issues. Maybe it's not harmful in the first place, because some of these molds are, or yeah, I think some of the molds may not be negative or detrimental, but even then, I might be putting my foot in my mouth there. I don't know that much, constantly learning, but we'll see what the path to go with it is. Or maybe it's just a toss out and a retry. But either way, we're learning, and even if it's a toss out, it'll go to the compost pile. So it's adding that diversity to the microbes no matter what, or diversity to the soil with microbes no matter what.
Okay, so you're a little bit robotic on the last part there. I hope that it came through okay. I think everybody, hopefully you heard that all. Maybe it was just on my side. Let me know in chat if you heard that okay, or that darn Canadian internet.
I know. I'll try to be a little bit less ADD too, so we can slow down a bit for you.
Actually, I'm getting really robotic on your computer for some reason, and I'm hearing an echo.
Well, why don't you shout for a second, and I'll see if I can figure that out real quick.
Perfect. All right, we'll get that audio taken care of. I think we're hearing an echo. Yeah, I think your YouTube might be open behind you in there. get that taken care of. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining me today. I'm just getting caught up here. Thank you all. Got Sabrina and my Kathy, my girlfriend out there, my mod. Thank you for joining, Kathy. I appreciate you out there hanging out and chat. And we got Jazz and Kelly hanging out too. What's up? What's up, everybody? Thanks for coming by, Gemma. Hope you're doing well. I am going to take a dab and see what DK, how we doing, DK? Sound any better there? Let's see. Cheers, Pilgar. How are you? Hope you're doing fine out there in that Arizona hot sun. Oh my gosh.
All right, what do we think?
Oh, much better. Here we go. You're coming back in. There we go. Awesome.
Well, let's see. Just make sure to keep me in check if it starts getting a little robotic or if I start echoing on you and all.
It's still a little bit, it's still a little robotic, and I'm not sure why. But is it coming in for you guys out there? Are you hearing DK? Yeah, he says, yeah, she says a little robotic. Okay, a little robotic. Well, maybe we'll give it a few minutes. We'll see. Maybe, do you want to try resetting your internet maybe or something? Here comes Kathy. Kathy's coming in to join us, I think, for a minute. My sister Kathy coming in. Welcome, welcome. There's Kathy. How's Kathy today?
Hi there.
DK, you want to jump off and come back in? We'll talk with Kathy for a minute. She can show us her new glass piece that she just got. I still hear an echo. That's really weird. Okay, I think we got it.
That echo might have been me.
Nope, it wasn't you, I don't think.
Okay.
You got it. How are you doing, sister?
Oh, not too bad.
Your new piece of glass today?
Yeah, I didn't see the link. I was waiting in Instagram for the link and it was in the other. So anyway, I'm here.
That's okay. Awesome. Thanks for coming.
My new little
here,
piece of
I'm gonna put you on speaker view. Tell them about your piece of glass.
Oh my God. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah, it is. It's a cool piece. I like it.
It's a nice piece. I haven't hit on it yet. It was supposed to be here for 420, for the show for 420, and it didn't get here until a couple of weeks ago. And I've been hanging on to it, waiting until I had something worthy of the new piece to try.
Well, awesome, girlfriend. You always have stuff worthy to try because I saw your rosin and I've tasted your rosin and it is amazing.
Well, right back at you.
And I can't wait to get those gummies. Oh my gosh, Kathy has this amazing gummy recipe. If anybody needs a gummy recipe, I would highly, highly recommend reaching out to this girlfriend. You can find her on Instagram or you can find her on Cannabis, and definitely reach out to her because I'll have her post her link in chat too. Because let me tell you, she has an amazing recipe and it is so good. So DK is back with us. He's taking a dab. I'm going to heat up. Kathy, what are you dabbing on today? You going to dab with us?
I think I am going to.
I am actually hitting some a platinum line. I actually purchased this down at our dispensary, and this one is, I forgot the name of it, Cinex Jelly. I got a little bit of that left. Gonna hit some of that.
I have your Super Lemon Haze Who's Her Daddy.
Ooh, oh my gosh, that looks like bubble. It looks so amazing.
Yeah, I can't get over it. The color on it is awesome. It tastes great. I just hit it at the right time in the cure to squish it, I think.
All right. Well, let's hit it. Get this going.
The new one.
So, hey, everybody in chat, everybody that's out there, all my friends that are here, thank you for coming by. And those that are going to come by later, I appreciate you coming by. I always forget to mention that because we do have a lot of people that come by after the show. If you do want to catch us live, make sure to hit that bell. You have to hit it twice so you get your notifications. Also, we've been trying to make it a little bit more regular. We're going to be checking in hopefully on Saturdays. We're kind of trying to figure out a time right now. Trying to work in different guests to have come in so you guys can check in with different gardens and different grow styles. We're going to get out in the community a little bit more. We've got a lot of people we've been meeting up behind the scenes. We've got a lot of people going to be coming in here. But later on in the show, if anybody wants to, let me know, hit me up, tell me in the private messaging or even in here, and hit me up on Instagram, and I'll send you a link, and you're always welcome to join our show and show us your growth.
Show your
So
growth.
DK, what's up, man? You're coming in much better. Awesome.
Holy smokes.
Oh, yeah, no more
fingers
robots.
crossed. And if it goes to crap again, I'll just go back inside and we'll stick to the same structure.
No, you're like a million times better. So please, do you want to talk about what you have going on behind you, or what plants you have, or what do you want to start out with? Go ahead.
For sure. Well, I mean, essentially overall, I started farming some cannabis on this property behind me, which is a small spot, probably 15 feet by 50 feet last season. I added some kind of hugelkultur style beds. I say style because I didn't use super big logs and stuff. I used kind of smaller sticks and twigs, and kind of went on the similar premise of digging down, burying some of them, adding a straw layer, you know, putting some soil, some native soil and stuff on top, and then adding compost and just some stuff that was all, you know, essentially around our property. For lack of moving the camera and everything, I won't do it, but there's a big field next to us where we've got a whole bunch of just naturally thriving weeds and different flowers and things that when you separate and use them for your either aerobic or anaerobic blends, it works great. For Jadam, for some of like the nutrients we've been using. We've done the JMS, so you just get some potato, add that into a sack if you want, or depending your brew, just into the mix. You add in some of your local vegetation or weeds, or ideally stuff that's going to be the crop that you're adding it to, and then you know, you can add some scoop of some leaf litter soil, and I may be forgetting something else, but essentially that you let sit for, you know, 24 36 hours, giving it some stirs every now and then, or not. It's, you know, there's good and bad or one sometimes you find with the whole natural farming page. So these anaerobic blends can still be beneficial as well. Like these plants were recently hit with an anaerobic blend and they're praying pretty well. Like they're not sad by any means. You'll find with my ADD, I'm going to go so off track, but I'll try and keep it centered. So I started doing that last summer. This year I added on one more bed and used a little bit bigger wood. So I could, you know, it's a little bit more straight hugelkultur style. But even like this girl behind me here, it's a first year bed. And generally the return rates, or the how much you think you're going to get, like how vigorous your plants will grow, will be a little dismal because it takes a while for all the microbes to culture and everything to do its thing. But I mean, I'm finding it's still destroying the average growth from just doing the conventional style that we were doing before with just regular gardening. Had everything from raspberries to, you know, a bunch of different onions and carrots and lettuce.
Well, dude, you're killing it.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's all because of people like yourself and everyone else in the industry that's just been so forthgoing with all this amazing information and things like, you know, like this live right now and all these other ones, the Johnny B one, the different, all, you know, there's so many various podcasts. I could spend 45 minutes shouting them all out, but they're so great. And you just have to be open-minded and keep listening and willing to learn. And there's a ton. So here right now, I'm an ACMPR grower here. It's all for medical for myself. And I've got about 27 plants outdoor right now. Actually, I think it's up to 30 because I recently popped a few more auto flowers. But same thing, they're all going to be living soil, just the general teas for food, nothing too crazy. Haven't amended the soil with anything this season aside from all those teas, and it's rocking. And then I've added in a bunch of other stuff just on the veggie side and little trees. And so I've got beside me to my left down here, you can't see, but there's a little cheap bed I made just out of two untreated 2x4s, but it's perfect for a bunch of little, I got carrots and some sunflowers, and I love herbs and things like yarrow and stuff that promote all the pollinators. So there's some yarrow, some mint. I've got this really, really unique oregano that's got this beautiful, beautiful smell to it, and it's just super vigorous. And yeah, I could go on all day about all the little neat plants and herbs that I try to acquire for here. And there's not a super big rhyme or reason. Like it's not the only area I'd say that's like a monocrop style would be the raspberries, and that's just because they keep thriving year after year in that spot. So it's not like we would rotate it, but everything else kind of hops around, right? And you know, I built. I'll take you for a little tour if my phone allows me in a little bit to the other beds, and I've built some other larger style beds in the garden, and I'm kind of just experimenting with those too. Seems like they're taking a bit longer to go, but now the plants that I have in there are starting to show signs of being quite happy. And yeah, I condone it all to people that are being super forthgoing, like I said, with all this amazing information, being willing to just, hear completely opposing things to what you would think and going, huh, you know what, I'll give that a try, or, let me think about that more, and not being instantly defensive and abrupt with these things, because there's just so many things where I was like, there's no way, that just sounds too easy, or that sounds way too far-fetched, and it turns out to be a lifesaver. So I can almost preach that more than anything. Just be open-minded and, always ready to learn, and you're gonna.
Exactly.
Coming in. Is it coming
You're
in clear enough?
coming in great. Yeah, it's coming in great, dude. The plants look amazing. Do you want to jump on your phone? Should we test the waters and see if you can take us for a tour? We'll test the waters a little bit. Let's see.
Yeah, let's get a little risky. Why not?
Let's see. Well, let's see if we put the good vibe jujus in the air with all them dabs we've been taking, getting ready for the live. Hope everybody's doing good out there. Who's puffing on stuff? What y'all puffing on? Let's see. Let DK in the room here. He's waiting to get in. How do I get to there? We go. Admit. There we go. Let's get that phone on here and see if we can get him in here. And is there anybody out there that's interested in coming on the panel? Let me know. Hit me up in chat. Let me know. I would gladly have you, or even later on, if there's someone that's watching out there that would like to come on, show your grow, tell us about your history with cannabis, any information you think you'd like to share, you're definitely welcome to come on the panel and hang out with us. Okay, DK, you're on. Let's see. Let me spotlight that. Let's spotlight that video here. There you go. You're spotlighted.
Okay, so I'll try and get away from the... Here, I'll just turn down the other speaker so it doesn't give you any feedback. That should be better. So anyways,
there you go. Go ahead.
These are the little beds I was showing you that I made, filled with all sorts of little goodies. Got a little duck feeder in the back corner there, a little pink grapefruit autoflower in the back in that 5-gallon bucket. And then it gets over to the beds here. So this was the one that I made this year. And I've got, I think, the 6-seed blend from Black Swallow, and then I've added some red Dutch clover in bulk and a few other things for the cover crop and companion plants. Some yarrow at all the edges and in the middle, because it just shoots nice deep roots and helps tear everything up. And I believe it's a nitrogen fixer, but don't quote me on that one. I'm not positive. Here we've got some orange gasms from Rusted Jeff. I believe the first 4, these 3 and 1 back there. And then it traverses into some Bubba's Breath from Katsu Bubba. So I'll try and go slow so I don't cut out too much on you here. I mean, I just love...
Looks good. You're coming in good, man. It looks awesome. You could also turn your phone sideways if you wanted to get a little wider picture of the whole canopy. There you go. Awesome. Beautiful. That looks good.
Beautiful.
Same thing. Generally, don't grow sunflowers with your plants because it's going to attract aphids and ants, but I don't have the heart to do it because I love the birds and the diversity that it brings. So I just work with it, and ideally with healthy enough plants and everything, it hasn't been much of an issue, at least not last season. Lots of these people that have been giving information are so helpful that even when you come up...
Oh, now we're starting to lose them.
Yep, I think we're starting to lose them. Kathy, you might have a little bit of something going on in the background as well.
All right,
let's see. DK, we're losing you on the ground. I see you're getting back up. It's okay. It's okay. Slow down.
I'll come back up.
There you go. Slow down. There you go. We got you.
Okay, I can't go too deep into the jungle, so I'll keep that in mind.
The trees cut you out.
I'll go slow, Mr. Roboto. And then I just have the farm and field, kind of the mesh, or not farm and field, sorry, the mesh that you use for concrete, for the pouring, I believe. They sell them just Home Depot here in Canada. And I mean, I think they're $16 or $15 a piece, as opposed to, tomato cages, which are generally 22 or 25. And they make a nice big circle. and that's what I use for up top as well.
They also have the nice width on those, and they're lightweight compared to the fencing that I use, because I've actually bought like cattle or pig fencing, and I've used that. So that would be a lot more economical and also lightweight. I like that idea. Yeah, that's yarrow, isn't it, right there?
Yes, it is one, and I've got various different colors just to add some sparkle to the garden.
I was going to say, that looks like pink yarrow. I've never seen pink yarrow. I only have white.
Well, I won't spin too fast.
Garden looks beautiful.
We've got this kind of off color. We had some orange ones that are starting to fade.
Okay, you need to collect some seed from those. I want some multicolor ones next year.
And there's some beautiful yellow ones. I just likely won't be able to get deep enough. Oh, you'll see from here.
Beautiful.
Wow, dude, you're doing an amazing job. I just love viewing your garden. So inspiring every day. It's so awesome to see you grow.
Well, it's all from you guys, right? And got these Virginia creepers, which everyone hates because I mean, they're so vigorous in growth, but they're awesome if you control them. So I eventually want to have this whole walkway done. Hopefully I'm not getting too patchy on you, and we can make it around the corner. How is this? Am I still coming in?
You're good.
Perfect. So we've got another lady snuck in here. She's loving it for the most part. I mean, could be praying a little bit harder, but hey. And then these are those beds. I just planted this girl in the middle here in the 7-gallon about 4 days ago. And it was the first time I tried just cutting off the bottom 2 inches of the pot. I just took an X-Acto knife very carefully without damaging too much of the roots, because I mean, obviously I couldn't not damage any of them. I'd be a liar. But minimal damage, and I just popped off the bottom and planted in there. And it's taken off, I would say, significantly faster than the ones that I did the full transplant on, but I was very rough with them. They're quite tall, about as tall as me, and I was trying to add the mycos.
You're getting a little robotic on that. Maybe come back over and then you can explain that conversation. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt y'all, but I want you guys to be able to hear this technique, because we've been talking to a lot of growers on the platform. We have a really cool group of growers that's been going on, Johnny B. Grow Crew. We got a lot of them coming in the chat. Thanks for hanging out, guys. We got Mad Dog. He's one of the guys in there. High five. Yeah, here's everybody. Awesome. Thanks for coming in, guys. So yeah, DK, thanks for sharing your garden, man. That's awesome. I'm so glad we got your phone to work for a little bit there. I think he's turned his phone down. It's probably overheating on him. So we're going to come back in, and then he's going to talk to us a little bit about what he's got going on. He can explain a little bit more when he comes back in. So awesome. Thanks everybody for coming in today. If you're just coming in, we are definitely medicating, and some of us have been microdosing a little bit earlier today. That's something that really helps us and starts our days out. And we're going to talk a little bit more freely about that, hopefully coming up in some conversations. I'm hopefully got some surprise guests coming in the future. So DK, all right, you ready? Come on back.
I think I'm back.
Okay, perfect.
So that last little bit there, all I was saying was, that's the first time I tried cutting the bottom off of one of those plastic pots instead of doing a full transplant, in order to kind of prevent any shock. And then I was getting into the fact that the other ones I transplanted dealt with quite a bit of shock from me. You know, they're about 5.5 feet tall, and then flipping them around and trying to get the little mycorrhizae powder on them that helps build beneficial relationships with the roots, and essentially helps it root faster. And I'm kind of that's kind of it for me. I'm sure we can get someone like Mr. 710 or any of these other lovely guests or great informers to give us a bit better
Well, it's not just
yeah.
explaining how it works, but actually doing it and seeing how it works. See, like there's a lot of people that can explain a function or a science, but when you actually are someone that has done it and you're actually the person that put it in and you actually the one seeing it for your own eyes, I feel like you can maybe tell me more than the person that's going to be the scientific that maybe can just only explain it from what they've
Well,
been
yeah,
told.
like a healthy.
So I'm okay with you describing this the way you are. And I think it's cool that we've had these conversations, because when I go transplant, I grab the whole thing out and I rough the hell out of the roots and I stick it in the ground. I throw it, I throw all my shit in there that I'm supposed to, and I throw it in the ground. Like I've been taught that's what you're supposed to do, is rough it up. And then I see other people, they're so dainty. They, barely take it off and they put it in there. Like, I don't know. Maybe I need to do some side by side. You're giving me some options here, getting my mind going.
Yeah, of course. And that's all what it is, right? Try what works best for you and take little tidbits of information from everyone and go from there. But when you have the people that have put in the incredible amounts of time to learn about a subject, it's always worthwhile noting what they have to say about it. If they can prove to you that they've put this much time into something, they probably know something pretty beneficial about it. So it's good to sit back and listen. But yeah, like with those, I'm pretty sure it just forms those relationships and helps with uptake of all the different nutrients and lots of these different microbes chelate all the stuff that's in the soil that your plant generally doesn't have access to, makes it plant available. I'm noticing a little bit of glitch on the screen. Am I still coming in fine audio? Perfect. That's good to go. But yeah, so I did that transplant, and I'm noticing about 4 days, and it's quite happy, starting to pray. Whereas the other ones that I wasn't so delicate with, they definitely took more time. Like it was a solid week and a bit where I was going, I think I really pissed these girls off. But yeah, same thing. I with all of them, I didn't do, like with these larger ones, I didn't do a whole bunch of acclimating. I mean, it's pretty cooking out here in the daytime, and then I'm in the Okanagan of BC for anyone that's unaware. So it's currently right now, let's say 30 degrees or so, decent breeze. Like yesterday, we had some heavy winds, so they're kind of experiencing all that stuff. But at the night, it'll get down to 12 or 15, maybe even a little less. So it was kind of hard to take a plant from an environment indoors where it's sitting at, whatever, 75, 80 degrees and 60%, and then bringing it out to somewhere that's nowhere near. So I just kind of did it, just threw them out here. I didn't go too hard and bring them in and out and risk any of that. Mainly because I didn't have another environment to do so. If I had a little greenhouse or somewhere where I could have been more delicate with them, I always advise that would be the best call. But yeah, they all seem to be doing really well.
So do you have any favorites in the Jardin book yet? Or is it still too early to know? Because like you and I are so green into that, we're just getting going in that. So like I am barely starting it. So like I just barely made my first labs, talking with Chris Trump. Like, oh my God, I followed Chris Trump for how long? Watched all the seminars, recorded them, have them for you guys available to watch. But yet I'm barely trying to start implementing these things because they seem so overwhelming.
Yeah, and that's the kind of the thing with a lot of them is they're pretty simple as long as you're allowed or willing to put in a little bit of legwork. So like last year, my first ever FPJ I did was a dandelion one, and that was because it was talked so highly at the regenerative conference. And time-wise, less than half an hour. Expense-wise, less than $10. But you got to get up just before sunrise. So that's tough for a lot of people who like to cherish your weekend or cherish your mornings. And you have to pluck all the heads, in a pretty quick manner. It doesn't have to be insanely fast, but it's good to get right to that peak right before the sunshine comes out, when there's the most dense amount of nutrients in the head of the plant, I believe. I would love to have someone else who knows more come address that as well. But you collect all those, you use your raw or unrefined raw brown sugar, or, I believe you can use pretty much any sugar if you don't have access to a lot of stuff, or if you just need to use the cheapest. But raw unrefined is the best one, I believe. I've heard some people using the molasses as well, Tara. I'm not sure if you could chime in on that.
I would like to do another follow-up with Chris and do some more. Chris, if you guys haven't watched, Chris Trump was on our last, it was our last live, right? We did with Chris Trump and Wendy, and he filled in some amazing information on that. If you guys haven't watched, go check it out. And if you haven't already followed Chris Trump, go do that, because he tells you right there how to make all of this stuff for virtually, pennies on the dollar. And it's amazing. you know, I don't want to go into how and redo it on my channel on how to do all this stuff, because he's already got the video out there. You might as well go
So
watch
well.
him. Yeah, he explains it super well. You know, go follow him, go check it out. But we will definitely have him back on here. We've been talking. He said he super enjoyed coming on with us and sharing what he shared with us last time. So he's going to be checking in with us probably more on a regular. That's kind of something else I wanted to let everybody know. So if you do have questions for KNF, or you do have some Chris Tump questions, reach out to him or let me know, and we can get those questions answered for you here. So go ahead, DK. Did you have something else to tell?
I don't know. Now I'm just thinking about how lucky we are to receive such awesome information for free, right? Like, I mean, they definitely offer courses, which you should definitely get to if you can. I don't know if you already mentioned, but that Wendy and Chris are going to be doing, well, Chris and Wendy, I should say, but they're working together to be doing that course and helping do that. When was that again? You know the date?
It's coming up in August. I went blank right
August.
now.
That's close enough. Sometime in August. So check that out for sure. Any of their social media accounts is awesome. Wendy's very active on Facebook if that's one of your main platforms. And yeah, there's information all over the place. So if you look for it, you'll find it. That's for sure. And there's lots of misinformation too. So be close, vet your sources. You know,
Lots
that's where the
of
unbiased comes into play. Lots of people.
Do you have your Jardin book out there by chance?
I don't have it sitting with me.
Okay, I'm going to go grab that and another one really, really quick. Go ahead. I'm going to let you talk for a minute.
All right. All right. Well, what else? I'll just continue what we've got going in the garden. I've got a few other cultivars, which is always nice to talk about. We've got some Acorn by TH Seeds. There is some 707 headband, which I've been super happy with. It's got this very candy profile, like nothing I would have expected from the cultivar, from the name, or from what it's generally described as. Couple more different phenos. There's a few, like I think there's 6 phenos inside of the Orange Gasms that I've been playing with, and I think 4 of them made it outside, and then there's 6 as well of the Bubba's Breath. I think 3 of those made it outside. And then the autos we went with were all from Next Generation Seed Company. I was looking around. We were going to do an order through Mephisto, but they were very sold out at the beginning of this season. So I ended up going with those. And I mean, it's been going well so far. It'll be the first time with autos. So I'm super excited to see how they do with the old living soil and just the basic amendments. And I think they're going to be very happy, but you know, knock on wood, we'll have to see. And then aside from that,
fun watching what you're doing. For someone that can't grow outside, I have to live vicariously through you.
Hey, and I couldn't imagine how many people are living vicariously through you, Kathy, because my goodness, you are just killing it. Some of the things you're doing and I mean the cannabis you're growing and the product you're making, it's next level.
You know, I have so much fun doing it. And again, you know, I've come so far because of the community that's been put together by Tara. You know, she brings everybody together and everybody is sharing ideas and things that don't work for them.
Yeah, no, of course. I can't throw enough thanks out to these people that are bringing all these people together. Like Tara helped me out from the regenerative conference. It's got to be about 2 years ago now, and it's just been this amazing journey ever since, meeting all you guys and just going through the different groups and meeting with Johnny B and, you know, having those conversations. Check out the Johnny B channel if you're not on there, John Burfello on YouTube. Lots of different Zooms, and you know, right now he's going on a lot about the new light spectrums and everything about that. So there's so much
whole thing with the light spectrum, it's absolutely amazing. It's way over my head. I'm glad he understands it so that he can maybe break it down for those people that are going to have a more difficult time grasping how that all works. Because
oh yeah, if you need it in depth, you can hop on over there for sure.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry about that, guys. I'm back. Okay. So this is the Jardin book. It was actually by my nightstand because I've been reading it every night. This is my bedtime story book. So some people do have copies of this on PDF. There's a lot of information that's already free, that's already out there. You don't have to buy the book. But you know, hey, I like kind of having on the old fashioned way. I kind of like having the book, you know. It has all the recipes in here, how to do things simply. I'm just really enjoying it. So I would recommend, you know, maybe checking it out, or if 100%. You have a friend that might have it. Go ahead, DK.
No, just agreeing with you. Get on that book and get some little tabs in there. I love it. It's a little reference sheet, a little menu sheet. And then like, it's hard to, when you have all these different solutions and they're all just, one's a quarter teaspoon of this and one's a quarter tablespoon of this and all these things. It's nice to have the little books out. And I'm a bit more old fashioned too. I like to have it right in my hand. Whereas if you do a PDF or whatever, get it with however means, or buy an online file of it, you can kind of break it down yourself and have those as well. But just to have those little menus and all those different tips and things you wouldn't necessarily think about right there, and for me in my hand, so I can feel it and look at it, I love it. It's great. And yeah, I have to agree. I was gonna say labs when you brought up your favorite thing with Jadam, and I mean that's not even necessarily to do with that, like, but the labs are just so simple to make, right? Which is a little rice water, some milk, some organic raw unrefined milk as well, and a little patience, and my goodness, you just mix it up with some molasses, unsulfured molasses, and you can store that stuff for, I mean, like you're saying, you're having results shelf stable for how long now? Over a year and a half, 2 years?
I think we're going on 2 years. It was given to me at the regenerative conference, I think 2 years ago.
So I mean,
so yeah, like it's still stable. It's like I've used it and it's still good. Like I'm shocked. Like, and it was gifted to me. Like it was really cool. That's the first thing that kind of started me on my first thing of using labs, even though I've made labs and I still haven't used my own labs. It's sitting in the refrigerator. I've not added the molasses to mine yet. I'm going to do that on the next show because I want to show kind of people what I've been doing. So plan on bringing that up too when Chris Trump comes and joins us again. We've got some more. You've been doing some brews that we want to talk about, raspberry, strawberry, different other things that we've been working on. We're going to have some stuff going on with that. But I also have a surprise guest that I just found out that's going to be joining us. I think I just send out the link. We'll give him just a minute to see jump in here. I think we might be learning maybe a little bit about some CBD. We'll see. Let's see if he jumps in here and joins the panel. He just sent me a private message. So, yeah, I'm just super excited to have all these amazing people working with us, DK, and we're hanging out with Kathy and all of us behind the scenes. I mean, there's you guys, if you just are willing to put yourself out there and make some of these connections, these groups are being formed all over Zoom, nationwide. There's people all over the world. There's a group of Australians that I know that's working on stuff, getting together and getting this knowledge out. And there's good people out there. So reach out and try and hook up with some of these people, because we're willing to share. Like we want to help people and we want people to grow. We want people to have this knowledge 100%. For free.
Exactly. And the little hacks like brewing up the microbes and things where you can turn a $120 bottle into a damn near a lifetime supply if you're able to keep a continuous grow, or at least turn it into something that lasts for years as opposed to weeks. Because that's how we can really empower the small farmers, right? The people who can't afford all these really expensive things, and like even small bottles of nutrients are $30-$40, and like when you can make 100 times that for fractions, less than $5, then my goodness, we need to get that information out to everyone. That's the stuff that I've been going crazy with. I was lucky enough to kind of be learning about that information before I jumped into it, so I hadn't ever really spent a bunch of money on all the amendments or got hooked on any certain way. And then I learned right off the bat that all these different opinions and different ways of doing things, there's a lot of different ways to do it right, in a sense. Like there's when you have a proper diversity, there's a really good balance. So a lot of people balance in different ways. So it's just keep open to everything. I know I'm stressing that, but it's been the biggest helper for me, right? Because I mean, it's the easiest way to learn everything. There's everyone kind of has something you can extract from them, and then it's just
absolutely,
as long as they're positive and like-minded, then it's willing to put some time in with them, and they'll be willing to put time in with you.
Like Kathy, here Kathy is. I actually taught Kathy how to dab, taught Kathy how to press, but Kathy got me eating gummies. The first person getting me eat gummies. I'm trying to medicate with gummies again, and it worked, and I'm super happy for that. Like, the gummies are helping me sleep through the night. Those are things that I want to also start talking about here on, like, what is cannabis doing for you and how is it helping you, trying to make healthier choices throughout our life, and maybe inspiring those to want to make healthier choices and how to make a little bit healthier choices, right?
Oh, for sure. You start growing growing cannabis with so much love, and just hearing how everyone cares so much about that in themselves. And like myself, someone who's got a poor diet, I should say, had an extremely poor diet. It's really come a long way, even though some people wouldn't believe that, seeing how bad it still is. It's crazy how much that's changed just by putting love into a plant, because we're going to be ingesting that plant. And then if you know, if you're sensible and open-minded at all and not too stubborn, you're obviously going to use that cross-platform and go, how can I do this? And then chow some fast food, or just some easy mix this, or some, on the spot this. It's just not conducive to what you're doing in every other aspect. So then you slowly start integrating that into your other daily routines. And generally, if it's positivity and beneficial stuff, you're going to be a lot happier and a lot better in a short amount of time. Mentally too, helped me a ton. My goodness, I'm all over the place mentally with ADHD, and I got all sorts of things going on in the backstory. So it's been a really solid thing to just keep you really motivated. There's nothing better than going out and gardening, or if you're not able to, at least extracting information and doing what you can, helping other people. Feels great.
It's super relaxing. I love being able to grow indoors. I can do it all year round. So I have that connection with the soil and the plant all year, which is something that helps me to get through a lot of really tough times,
Yeah, I'm into that.
It's a great distraction. I started growing because I didn't want to get what they had in the dispensaries. I saw what they had, and it wasn't anything that I was interested in having.
It's boof, or it's outrageously priced. It's one or the other generally.
It's just not the quality that you really want to have. I mean, if that's all you can get, then that's what you can get. But if you take a little bit of time and get some used lights and a used tent and a few items that you might need for it, excuse me, you can start to grow your own. I started with a couple of autoflower seeds that somebody gifted to me when I bought the tent. And from there, just kind of blossomed from there, found all this group and all these people here, Tara Lee and all you guys, and has tremendously, I just had my best grow, I think. And that's basically from listening to people tell me how to do it the right way.
And that product is coming out insane. Like, you're growing some very amazing cannabis. And being in the Okanagan, we see a lot of stuff, and I haven't got it firsthand, but just, been starting to learn a lot of different people's appreciations and their different ways of evaluating profiles, and everything we've heard about it. It's like you're doing some top-notch stuff. Holy, I really wanted to say touch. But yeah, you're just killing it. That's what we're trying to say. So my goodness. So, never be unsuspecting, people. Like, Kathy could teach you more than you could ever know. It's crazy.
Well, I've been given the information. I want to pass it on to other people. I would never consider myself a grower. I'm a learner. It's a constant learning experience, because everything changes. If you're growing indoors, outdoors, you have such a challenge growing outdoors. And props to you for doing it, because I don't know if I'd be able to deal with doing it. You got so many environmental things that are out of your control that are going to interfere with the growth of those plants.
Just put in the legwork up front, which again is obviously a lot of physical labor, and with the hugelkultur and stuff like that, it's not easy pickings. But you put in a few
100%.
solid days up front, and I don't really do. They're strong enough. They stand most of the weather. They deal with the rain. I haven't had too many issues. This is my second season, so what am I saying? I know anything.
Well, that's what they need. People need to understand is if you put in the time to do it the way you're doing it, or similar type, you have to kind of fix it to where you are. But if you do that, you're going to create healthy plants. Healthy plants don't have issues.
Well, exactly. They fight
Sick
them off.
plants have compounds
that the insects and things just don't want to be near. And you're gonna come across those certain ones. If you've got just the right or just the wrong one, depending how you look at it, plant, certain bugs are going to be really attracted to it, or certain blights and problems are going to be prone to it. But if you've got it in a really, really happy place and there's a great microbial diversity, you've got the best chance of dealing with it, at least. It doesn't say it's going to be gone or miraculous, but I'll tell you right now, the stuff that's in these little beds to my left, that's in the pre-bought soil, that's a good mix from a nice organic blend. compared to this first year made hugelkultur from pretty well soil from around the environment, and, you know, just a lot of just teas and things from around here to build it, scraps from around here. These plants are night and day, and like the sunflowers here don't have a bite on the leaves, whereas my ones in those beds, you can almost not tell they're sunflower leaves. Swiss cheese would be giving them a compliment. They're pretty well gone. So it's incredible that difference, what the diversity does. Just, and it's 3 feet apart from each other.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Beautiful. So cool to see.
100%. No, like anything else, you got to put the time in.
Well, I don't know if y'all can see chat, but everybody is rocking chat out there. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Cheers, everybody. Stony, love you. Love seeing everybody out there. Pilgor's hanging strong in the chat. If you haven't checked out them, you guys go check them out. They're awesome friends. Pilgor's also a very strong and organic and regenerative. So he's also one of those channels we do follow and love to grow strong with the community. What else, guys? I think I'm ready for another dab. I want to celebrate with y'all, take a dab. Thanks for hanging out again. Gina is in chat today. Who else? Jazz and Kelly still hanging with us. Who else we got? We got Dab. Dab says he's got a new press. Maybe Dab, you want to come on and press for us sometime? You're always welcome. And anybody that wants to come and show us if you got new glass, it doesn't just have to be your grow. We always love to see new shit, don't we? What do I want now? Okay, so I went down to the legal market here in town, and I wanted to go see what they really have and go support it and see what the bud tenders are doing. So I kind of went down there. I am going to try, I have some lime berry crumble. I normally am a person that does strictly solventless. I'm kind of snotty that way. But I have been dabbling a little bit in our dispensary because our dispensary does not have anything solventless right now. So I'm yelling right now, really mad that they don't have anything solventless. So right now I'm going to try some of this crumble. It's actually not too bad. It's actually been a lot better. They've cleaned up a lot of the stuff. It tastes a lot better. So anyways, that's what I'm trying to say. So DK, have you said what you're dabbing on today, or Kathy, which one do you want to share?
Well, I'm still hitting on that Super Lemon Haze, Who's Your Daddy?
Oof, that's good stuff. I would be still hitting on that too if I had it.
Yeah, like I said, that was like maybe the best grow, but that's because I listened to everybody. And one of the little nugs out of there.
That looks nice, Kathy.
Yeah, it smells amazing. And it's not fully cured yet. So I'm like very excited about what's going to happen when it's finally fully cured. I'm pressing a little bit every week during the cure to see what happens.
Did we hear what cultivars that you have in your facility or your little tent right now, Kathy? Did you go over that already?
Let me see. I still have my apple tartlet mom that's going very strong, that hopefully someday I'm going to get out to people so that they can enjoy that too. And I have Panama Pupil in there. I have Amy Aces from Ludlow Seeds. Our shout out to our friend there, Teo, the American one. We love you. And some Godiva that's in there as well.
Right on.
Yeah. So it's been very exciting watching those grow. I'm just about to put my veg closet back together again so that I can take some stuff out and flower out the Amy Aces.
Well, you must be awful excited about that then.
Yeah, I am. They're just about kissing the light in there now. It's time. They're screaming, let me go, let me go.
Hey, worst comes to worst, you can always super crop for anyone out there that's running into those issues and you don't have the luxury of any other space. By super crop, we mean you give her a nice pinch. Say if your ceiling's right here, you pinch it a few inches underneath for sure. You know, however far you think it's going to still grow. If you're in flower and having these issues, then probably won't grow too much further. Give it a good pinch and bend it right in half. It won't kill it generally. Some of them will snap in half, not super common, but it does. So, you know, I don't want any hate mail, but generally you can pinch it and bend it over. And especially if they're in veg, no problem. And that's called a super crop.
I would definitely try that though when the plant has not just been watered.
That's a great point.
Okay, because you're going to get more of a bendy situation out of it if it's, and just go slow, little bend, little bend, little bend until you get it to where you want it to be. And yeah, I'm thinking that I'm going to have to do that with these. I just started some low stress training on cotton candy crunch, which I believe is copycat genetics.
Okay.
That was a gift from my son. He cloned that and gave it to me for a change.
There you go. That's nice. Goes around, comes around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look
So
at my sister Kathy coming here dropping knowledge on us all today.
That's what I'm saying.
Woo!
The gold mine.
I got a little bit. I pay attention. You know, I even understood all about the lights the other night when we were talking about them. I was surprised. I was confused. There was a little voice in my head that said, "You know what they're talking about." And so
That's awesome.
yeah, because the lighting, all the stuff about lights and stuff like that has just been so far over my head that I've just kept saying, no, I don't care. I have lights. They go on, they go off. You know.
But now you're getting it without
Now
even
I'm starting
knowing.
to get it. Yeah. Now I'm starting to get it.
You're doing amazing. Your grow looked amazing this last time with the super lemon haze. That big cola was just like, wow, it was so beautiful to see you grow. And in fact, you guys, Kathy is the first person to grow out a seed that I actually didn't mean to breed. So Kathy actually got me to plant my first seeds, and this is the squish from it. She says it's amazing. Let me spotlight that video. Hold on there, Kathy. There you go. Look at that. Tell them what you squished that at, Kathy. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Flower rosin. It looks like bubble rosin.
Yep, that was flower rosin, and that was squished at 185. And I squish until I don't see any more bubbles. Once I stop seeing air bubbles coming out, then I know it's time to stop.
So is that, for reference,
I want to say it was probably about maybe 8 minutes, and it was
thank you,
just shy of an ounce that was in there. I've had this for a couple of weeks now, so that's leftovers.
That's what's left from the squish.
That's what's left from the squish, yeah, because I had that for, a matter of fact, I squished that on 4th of July. So it's a couple of weeks.
And Kathy actually does, you know, she has a little micro dabber unit that she normally uses. And she's, you know, real faithful at using her medicine really wisely. And you know, it's kind of important to some of us, and we don't like to waste it, do we, girlfriend?
And keeping a baseline and, you know, like, yeah, having consistency and not having all these fluctuations like you generally get when you have to go get it from a place where their hands are tied in the first place. So they really can't help you at all.
That's right.
That's why when you can just grow your own, or at least learn enough to really know what you're looking for so you can source it properly, it's the first step.
Yep. Well, I was amazed when I found out that you could actually grow this in your house. I had no idea about tents or anything like that when the person that put me onto this showed me what they were doing. I was like, wow, you can grow that in your closet?
Now, was that a long time ago for the viewers, or was that recently that you, like, how long ago were you first showing about the tents? Like
about 4 years ago this August.
So 4 years ago,
yeah,
you didn't even realize you could be growing inside. This year, she's producing fucking flower rosin that looks like hash rosin.
Yeah.
All you got to do is listen and learn, guys. All you got to do is listen and learn. And
that's it. It's a progression. You know, I found Tara Lee through another website, another YouTube channel, and we became, you know, friends almost instantly. She's such a great person. I love you dearly, honey. I love you all, you know, but
hey, right back at you, Kathy. And the information you give us too is incredible. And, like, you know, even with that flower rosin, yeah, there's a lot of factors. You need solid genetics, and you need to know what to do when you're pressing, and you need to know how to grow it. And there's all these different things. So people might try to say there's all these different points, but you learned all that stuff within the 4 years. That's my point. From listening and learning and being open-minded, you figured all this stuff out. So you've sourced great genetics. You figured out about the solventless and the pressing and which temperatures, and, you know, you've been open-minded and also doing your own thing, kind of, you know, taking what works best with you. And it's, you know, you say you like watching me. I love watching you. It's inspirational.
Well, I have a lot of fun doing it. Let me tell you, I don't want to call it a hobby, because I don't want it to be something that ever ends. I want to be able to grow until I can't get to the tent anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
it's a lifestyle.
That's almost too much passion for just a hobby. So I like that.
Yeah.
It is a lifestyle. That's very true.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle, you know.
And in this day and age, it is, because there's still so much segregation over it, right? Like there's still a lot of, you know, you'll burn relationships just because somebody's aware that you're growing this plant you love, even if they love everything else about you. So it's, you know, there's still that hill to push over, but it's crumbling real quick. So it's fantastic to be on this side and making a difference and helping people. And yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm very grateful to the person that handed me those first 3 seeds. And one of them was skunk, and I hated it. Oh, man. She said, "This is going to stink." And I was like, yeah.
Ooh, I know, and everybody's talking.
I can't leave the lights on that long.
And isn't everybody talking they want to go kill skunk? You know, everybody's saying they want the roadkill skunk back. I'm like, oh, I don't want it. Dude, we just had a skunk out back that was trying to get in with my geese. I don't want no skunk smell, believe me.
Yeah.
You can forward it on this way if you need to. I'll get rid of it for you.
Okay, cool. It looks like we have someone else that wants to join. I'm going to send another link out here. Let's see. So like, what would you guys say, like, your, let's see, if you could smoke a joint with anybody or take a dab with anybody right now, who would it be, Kathy? And why? And what would it be? There, I like that question.
Who would it be? Well, if I had the opportunity, it would be you, to be in the presence as opposed to doing it this way, because that, you know, I would like to give you a big hug. You know, you mean a lot to me, and you're gonna make me start crying. But it would be super because I know that's your favorite.
You're gonna make me stop crying, so quit.
You're both too sweet. That's awesome.
I love you back. That was
and that's
so
what this
sweet.
is all about, right? That's what this community is about. It's about making these relationships, and like, look at how passionate these two are, just helping each other out and growing with each other. And you know, it's the same way for all of us. We all just get so, you know, worked up just being able to help each other, and like it feels great.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very grateful. All it was I happened to be watching K-Doggy, you know, and there was this girl that was just chatting. And
she never shuts the fuck up in the live chat. She just talks. You always know when I'm in chat, man. I always got chat and emojis going on. Yeah. Absolutely. You can go back. Oh my God, you can go back and look at when I first started doing Hash Church. Like, I used to do, like, I was like emoji diarrhea, like seriously, like, it's embarrassing when I go back and I'm like, wow, I didn't even know what live was back then. And here I am doing live videos on YouTube. It's so funny, the stories you guys are coming up with and telling me. It's just crazy.
Zach asked if we lived far from each other.
Yes, Zach.
She's on the West Coast, Zach. Yeah.
She lives in Massachusetts and I'm in Washington. We can't get any further. Well, other than you could be in Florida. Okay, that could be.
Oh, that's true. It could be a little bit further than that.
It could be a little bit farther.
Someday.
Oh my God, yeah.
Someday it will happen.
Okay, guess what? We have a new person joining our panel. Awesome.
Excellent.
We have Raptor Grow, and this is the first time I'm actually meeting him. We'll give him a minute here to get set up. I think you're connected. Look at that. Hey, finally we get to put a face to the name. Fucking love your backdrop. Holy shit, that's cool.
Hey guys, thanks
Welcome.
a lot. It's actually like 1970s. I think it's Tim Edelbraun painting. And it's just like old school sci-fi fantasy from like the 1970s illustration. So I found it cool. Like I was just like going through a couple of blog posts, and then this came up and I was like, oh, that's awesome. So yeah, that's I have a couple of backdrops that I really like, but this one just seemed to like be perfect. I was like, oh, awesome. And just the fact that it has a couple of years on it makes it even better. I was like, wow, it just stood the test of time.
It's
yeah, I feel like,
amazing, dude. I just ordered a tapestry with mushrooms on it. So it's so funny that you have one. You came in with that today. Now I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I ordered it. So cool. Well,
yeah, I really
welcome.
need a tapestry. After seeing Tanazi bust out like 5 of his on his backdrop, like
I know he's always busting out the backdrops, aren't they? Always they everybody's got different ones, and I think it's cool. I think it's amazing the different, but we're also so cool to be able to do the green screen, right? Like you're doing, and that's really cool too.
Yeah, I love that.
yeah, I actually just got a new computer like before all this stuff happened because I was taking a bunch of classes on just different horticulture classes. One of them was landscape design, edible landscape design. I might
Cool.
I might go a little more into that, but I took the class that I wanted to. I really like uh, everyone likes food, first off. But I just thought all my life, like, oh, why can't we have fruit trees everywhere? For every region, there's a fruit tree. And why does, it doesn't have to be just food for us, it could be food for the wildlife. And yeah, uh, so yeah, that's why I got the computer, just so I could do different stuff like that. But it's really fun. I still haven't tapped into it. The reason I wasn't putting out videos before is just because I have like this old Sony camera. Oh, not too old, but it's digital. I could still do stuff with it. I just didn't have the computer to run the programs to do the editing. So I've been considering doing all that stuff. I do a little more than just like cannabis. I first started off with cannabis like almost 3 years ago, coming up just about now.
So the
Uh,
first time was that the first time you consumed cannabis was 3 years ago, or that's the
no,
first
no,
time you started
growing.
growing cannabis? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I've been consuming since I was like about 13. I'm 30 now, so I've had 17 years with it. Like I took 1 year off just to like see what was going on with myself. If it was really an issue, like a substance abuse issue. And then it wasn't. Like I could go a full year without it, and then I just realized, oh, it's not really the substance, it's me, myself,
And it's
just
because
doing.
society made you feel it. It was a substance abuse issue. Is
Exactly.
that where you're leading to? Because I
Yeah,
totally can understand that.
yeah, not just that, like the literal law told me like, oh, you got a problem, like now you gotta go to do this. Like they didn't tell me I had to go to like rehab, and I've never been to one. It's just that they were saying, oh, maybe you should take a break. And I was just like, well, it's probably a good idea. Maybe you should just get a sense of myself, which I recommend to everyone, just no matter what's going on, whether you're on something or not, get a good viewpoint of yourself. It's not too difficult to figure out like what's important in your life once you just take some time to yourself. That's when I started getting like really into meditation and stuff that yeah, it um the meetings that I would go to just check out, just to like understand everything. Some of them were teaching meditation, and I was all about it. It was full on meditation. We would talk to each other and get to know each other, and then we would just sit down, and they had a little chime bell and everything that like at first you don't know what's going on, but then after the first couple times you just get it's like a switch, like a light switch. You just hear it and you're like, oh, like the reverberation is just, I could feel it like from my head to my toes, like all throughout the tips of my fingers and everything. Like it's pretty cool. And then yeah, after I did all that stuff with like this is when I was like 19, 18. I was like, oh no, it's not me, I'm good. And I for a long time I was just getting everything I needed from the we'll call it the free market. uh
Love the free market. Love
Free
the
market.
name. Perfect. Keep it up. Love it.
yeah, I don't try to like the only negatives I see is it's not regulated for the people that need it medicinally. If it's for someone that's just like, oh man, I'm not feeling too good, you know, this week, I'm feeling a little bummed, maybe I need this. It's like, okay, yeah, have whatever you want. But I see a need for the medical market and the recreational market. And you know what? I don't think I like what Clackamas personally said. Like it should just all be legal. Like there shouldn't be any restrictions. There shouldn't be any laws that are put up just so that they can be used against other people in whatever instance. I think it should just. I feel the same way that it should just all be open for everyone to do whatever they want with. There's no tomato restrictions. Like there's no restrictions on how many blades of grass they want on your lawn. If anything, I live in an HOA where they tell you, no, you need to have a patch of grass. You need to send us a plan of what you're going to be planting, what it's going to be looking like. Here's a list of plants that you can only have in your front yard. That before I understood it, I was like, okay, you know, you kind of want everything to look nice. You don't want, you know, property values to go down or whatever. But once I uh got more into horticulture and really learned more in school about that, I it got me kind of pissed. I was like, wow, they're really restricting me. Once I understood how many more plants there are and how much we could be doing, and then I got into so first it was I'm wandering off to the main point of what we were talking about.
No, dude,
Uh
your conversation, I love it because people are talking and it's so nice to see you. Like, I love to put face to a name and what you're talking about. Keep going. Like, don't feel like you're taking up any time. I love this conversation. Go ahead.
yeah, I'll bring it all together. I've been using cannabis since I was 13, like I was mentioning. Like I said, the first time it took me a while for me to like really get like a feeling, but then I was just always calm, and whatever was stressing me out would just dissipate. It wouldn't be like, oh, I like I'm shaking because I need something. It'd be like, oh,
Mhm.
I have
Yeah.
this, and now whatever I was worrying about is not even a thought. So it took me a while to realize what it was doing to my body, the benefits. And I could have gotten my medical license when I was 18. The law at the time that let us do that here in California, Proposition 215. But I just waited. All my friends got it, and they were just all telling me the same thing: get it, get it. So around when I was like 21, I got it, uh, and I liked it. I liked being able to go to a store and get something that was what I thought was safe because I'm not, you know, in some random guy's car or house just waiting, you know. Everyone's been on the couch where it's just like, oh, I'm just here for 15 minutes, I guess. So it was nice. That was really nice. I like that there's a market for people to feel safe and get what they need. But then I spent so many years. Let's see, I would spend like $10 a gram. So I pick up like an ounce at a time because I didn't like going back and forth. So I would pay like 280 to like 300 an ounce. Um, and eventually it was just like, no, this is too much. It's way too much for what I need. So then what happened? Oh, Proposition 64 went through and passed. And then that really made me feel way more comfortable. I had my,
Okay. So, just for those who don't know, tell people what proposition. Go ahead. Go ahead.
sure, yeah, thank you for reminding me to clarify. Proposition 64 is a proposition brought up, I believe, in 2018, 2017, and it went through in California. It was basically stating that uh, there would be a recreational marijuana market in California, and that it specifically said in that proposition that it would have nothing, it would not interfere with anything to do with Proposition 215.
And unfortunately, they all say that and they all lie in every state.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. It's unfortunate. They really held back the medical growers, the people that were either caretaking or growing for themselves, instead of being able to just like, for sure, there wouldn't be an issue of like having 12 plants. Now you really had to make sure your doctor said it. Like, and I have to, speaking of which, I have to renew all my stuff like before, in a couple of days, and I don't even know how that's going to work, because maybe I could do a Zoom call and they'll, do a digital confirmation or whatever. But I definitely need to check that out. But
That's what I had to do
this is the time
here
of the
in
month.
Massachusetts. I had to redo mine in March. And we just did a Zoom call. The doctor said, okay, okay,
That's
okay.
good. I'm
So,
so glad they didn't make you go or anything. That would just be deplorable. I'm so glad that they're making amendments for all of those things. And another thing is, I hate that.
So I like to
Go
see
ahead.
that they're making those amendments, but I'd like to argue that they keep those same amendments for you to get to stay in your house where you're comfortable, to be able to talk to a doctor through Zoom, to be able to have the conversation and not have to go in where everybody's sick and not be exposed to all those things that you don't want to be exposed to. How hard is it to go into a doctor's office and sit there and try and concentrate and tell him everything that's wrong with you when you've been exposed to these things? Like, some people can't handle this emotionally, and the anxiety gets a lot of us. So to be able to like sit here and medicate and then talk to my doctor, wow, that's, I think it's going to help a lot of people, right?
Yeah, you tagged in on exactly what I was trying to. I fully agree. I fully agree. I hope that. Uh, I was just about to say that I really don't like that all this is happening, just like everyone. But there's some things that are being put to light that were just being denied before. Like, hey, everyone does need internet access. Okay, I think that's a right now. Like, we need to be able to communicate with each other, and that's, if you want someone to work for you, you got to help them out with that. Uh, and the fact that we don't need to do everything in person. Not every single thing needs to be done in person. I personally like doing as much as I can in person, but if it's stuff like, the doctors, where he doesn't really need to check your pulse, and he doesn't need to see, check your pupils or anything. They just need to say, oh, this is just uh medical bureaucracy, where you just have to sign on a dotted line.
Just
uh
bullshit. You can say bullshit. It's okay to say
yeah,
bullshit.
yeah, exactly. It is bullshit. I've my person in my family that's really close to me, I've helped them through a lot of medical stuff these last couple of years. That's why I've been staying in California. But yeah, just not even me going through it. It's not even for me. I was helping her with everything, and oh man, it's just ridiculous. And she didn't have the ability to drive herself around, so I was totally there for her. And just because I would be the person taking her everywhere, I would have to see everything, and it would be, in the beginning, I had to help her with all that paperwork. Just looking through everything, it was very humbling uh, to see what people have to go through that have to go through the medical system. Just like I I 100% wanted to help everyone out before in the medical system, but now even more so. And that's why I was looking into like permaculture and cannabis and uh, like landscape design and all that stuff, just because I there was a point very recently where I was going to school for biochemistry, and that's just basically uh, one step behind of getting my doctorate and like literally getting into the medical field. And then after seeing all that stuff with my family, I was just like, no, I don't like this. I don't like the way they're going about this. I want to do something different. Everything that I'm learning in chemistry and biology, it just felt so sterile compared to like when I was literally doing all of this stuff while I was growing. So I was like, I would be in one completely sterile place learning about, I also have a background in biotechnology. So I was getting my certification and all that stuff, and they were training me. And it was just so much sterility and so much money going around everywhere. And I was like, what's going on? We're losing we're getting so out of touch. And one of my last biotech classes in the beginning, he was like, oh, what's the most important thing that we look for in biotech? And I was just looking into permaculture at this time also. And I was like, oh, ethics. You know, we should make sure that uh, we're making products that are going to be available medically to people that need them, like insulin. I was learning how to make stuff like that, how to make insulin with microbes. And basically, he was just like,
Wow,
"Oh,
really? You can do that?
yeah, yeah." So
Cool.
we used to get insulin from cows. Like literally, we would when we would butcher them, we would get it from
Okay,
their
I really
bodies.
didn't know how we got insulin. You say
Oh
you're
yeah,
schooling me right now. Go ahead.
yeah. It's really interesting. Yeah, we used to. Uh, I really wish I looked it up. But
We're putting you
anyway,
on the spot. It's okay. You don't have to be technical. It's okay.
no, yeah. So basically, in like I want to say the 1970s was the last time we were doing that method where we would just extract the insulin out of the organs, and uh, eventually we found out that we could use microorganisms, and we can basically uh, train them to make insulin. We would put the genetics into them that would. It's almost like breeding, and it's not really genetically modifying, but we were just basically assisting and them learning how to do that. And then yeah, they were able to develop insulin through that. Uh, so yeah, uh, I gave that answer of, oh yeah, ethics. Like we need to make sure these people get what they need. It's accurate, it's clean, it's done in a proficient manner, and they get it at an affordable price. Is just my thoughts. He's like, oh yeah, uh, and then he felt kind of embarrassed because he went to the next slide and it was just a big dollar sign. And I was like, oh yeah, that too. Yeah, we could make lots of money doing this. And it was just a little disheartening. I'm still gonna be using my biotech uh, knowledge and my certification to go into mycology. Actually, everything I learned in biotech uh, is directly applicable to mycology. So I'm hoping to make some tinctures and stuff for my family at least. And then if that works out well, uh, I might just open up a little shop and see what goes on there. Um, one of my I took a natural farming class, an urban farming class, and the whole method was natural farming using natural farming methodology. And at the end of the semester, we had to do a project, and my project was on urban mushroom cultivation. So I have a whole plan set up already for all that
Super
stuff.
cool. We'd love to talk about that more.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe we'll have to have like a whole episode on that, I think.
Yeah, I love talking about mycology. I'm still to call me an amateur would be a compliment to me, honestly. I'm just a little duckling getting its first feet wet in the pond for the first time. But because of the background I have, the technical background I have, I felt a lot more safe in pursuing it. I just took a while just because, well, with cannabis, I didn't, even after that law was passed, the Prop 64, where I got super comfortable with it, I took 6 months to really just understand the modern technology at the time. The LEDs, the tent systems, uh, the air exchange with the new exhausts and everything. Everything I was learning before was a little older. Like I mentioned before, I started consuming at like 13 years old. So around 14 years old, I actually was starting to look into growing. I was not growing anything until a couple years ago. I didn't do anything. Uh, Actually, I think I got a seed one year and then I just left it out, and maybe somebody found it. It was in a little pot, and they threw it out. I don't know. But I definitely did try once, and I was just like, oh, forget it afterwards in my backyard. But yeah, uh, mentioned Prop 64. Yeah, I was trying to learn as much as I could, just because I didn't want to. I don't have a lot of money. I'm still a student.
Well,
Uh,
and and I think that's like you were going with part of that, like your passion for this is because of the money, right? Like financially, like I got into growing because financially I couldn't afford it. Here you're got into
I can't
growing
afford
because financially,
$300, a month.
yeah.
Yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned the money, because it just costs me like 300, 400, and some change to get everything I needed. So that was like an ounce and a half. Just think of it like that. How much is it costing you to get your medicine monthly? Okay, now take that money, and what if you just tried to rely on a friend some way and get everything you needed, or maybe took a break. If you're not doing it for medicine, you're just using it recreationally, it's okay to take a break. But if you're doing it for medicine, maybe cut back to like a gram, or as whatever you were using before, cut back a little more, just so you can save up what you can. And that's how I did it. If you have some other way,
Or
if you have,
be a little trusting and try and get out in the community. You'd be surprised how many people
yes,
are willing to help a friend through a grow. People are willing to help you through it, but you've got to step out. You got to get uncomfortable with it. You got to start meeting people, and you've got to do it in your local area, or you got to do it on Zoom. So you've got to start reaching out to these people. Like you'd be surprised what I've seen lately happen in these groups. People are helping one another with lights. People are helping one another with RSO, medicine, CBD. Like people are coming together like no other behind this COVID. People think that it's a bad thing. I see it as a really good thing right now. I see amazing things happening right now with amazing people. So go ahead, Raptor. And I'm so glad you came on here today, because I've never met you, and I'm so happy to reach out with you. Everybody wants to know your age. If you want to share it, don't share it. I don't care.
yeah, it's cool. I thought I mentioned it before. I'm actually 30. Uh, like I mentioned before, a couple years ago, I was looking into biochemistry and stuff, and then I dedicated a lot of years to my life into going to that, into getting my prerequisites up. So I was taking chemistry classes, I was taking biology classes, I was getting my math up, basically everything you needed to get into STEM. And STEM is science, technology, engineering, mathematics. And I like what they're changing it to now, because they're including the arts in it. So it's STEAM now instead of STEM. So I thought that was really cool. I don't think we could visually represent what we need to represent to teach without art, personally. Before I was young and foolhardy and just like, oh, we need more doctors and artists. And it's like, no, we need everything. We need everything, and not just one person can do it all. Yeah, I think it's super important that we include more art into everything. But yeah, I'm 30. I was taking put a lot of years into that, and then once I started growing and doing all that stuff, I was like, well, I'm really way more into horticulture. And like once I started taking horticulture, I was like, oh no, this is it. And then I was like, well, I need to see what I can do with this. And then that's when I started looking into mycology. And I was like, well, what can I use? What can I do and still use what I already learned? I don't want to throw that away. I'm still super nerdy into all the science stuff. I love hearing about all that stuff. I just don't like the sterility of everything and thinking that uh, it's not broad, but you can still sense it in the science community where, oh, we know what we know and that's all we need to know. It's like, no, that's the opposite of science. We don't know everything. We need to have all of these methods up because we don't know all that stuff. We need to have a way of saying what's true and what's not true. And that's just testing it out slowly and surely. And it's taken about 100 years, a couple 100 years for us to get to this point. And it's because of that methodology of like, okay, this didn't work, move on to the next. And yeah, it's unfortunate that I see that not being as strong is how I was raised with my science teachers to believe it is. I've had a couple of science and chemistry teachers that kind of bum me out. They would just like come
So,
in and do their work and like head out. I'm like, oh, okay.
so I kind of, I feel like I hear you saying what I kind of been feeling for quite a while. Let me see if it is the same. I feel like science has kind of got me a little out of balance. Like I've been listening to science a little too much, and I've respected science. I mean, I really do respect science, and I respect doctors, and I've respected them unfortunately too much, you know. I think that some of the things and some of the troubles I've had is because I've expected too much from science, and not trusted my heart, what I really feel or how I feel. Yes, please take a rip, Raptor. We've kept you talking for a while. So yeah, I mean, like I feel like the science, and maybe that's kind of why the planet's out of balance a little bit right now. We've been going too deep down into a lot of these fertilizers, and
Cheers.
so these cheers and these salt-based things, and our foods are being grown in not healthy environments, and we're out of balance with nature right now, and we need to learn not only how to live with nature, but animals, plants, every living creature. We need to learn how to live harmonious with them, because we're getting large on this planet. We're moving into environments that we don't know, and we need to understand them so that we can live in harmony.
Yeah, I 100% agree. When I was first taking my biotech classes, I was taking biotech when I first got into biotech because I was taking the classes that I needed for my biochemistry background. And basically a biotech teacher came into the chemistry class one day and was saying all this stuff. And I was like, well, I already have all the qualifying features that I needed to take this class. So I figured, why not? I was taking a break from school or taking a break from work so that I can focus more on school and get more done instead of like doing 2 classes at a time, try to push out 5. Uh, and yeah, I went for it. I really loved it. I just wish well, all things in the frame of mind of when they happen. Uh, I would have loved to do more in chemistry and all that stuff, but once I figured out like, oh, this isn't, if I go further with this, what am I going to get out of it? And I went all the way up to like organic chemistry. I was like, okay, I really have everything I need to know as far as horticulture and all that stuff. Yeah, about halfway through my biotech training, I started really getting more into horticulture after figuring out how deeply, deeply ingrained biotech is involved in modern agriculture. It's crazy, you guys. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with how Florida and California are like the fruit baskets, and the Midwest is the bread basket. Well, here on the West Coast, we have basically 60%, we have 60% of the world's biotech industries here in California. So after hearing that, I was like, oh yeah, might be good job opportunities here. Uh, so I was looking into all the things I could have done, some pretty scary stuff, bio defense, they call it. And that's basically defense against bio warfare. They were looking for a lot of people to help out with that. And I was like, oh, that's pretty freaky. Uh, I don't want to be in the the CDC and something busts out and it's like, oh, well, I was there, ground zero. And I'm really glad I didn't go down that route, just because, gosh, after taking that much biotech, I understood that you're dealing with so many toxic chemicals that if it just spills on you, we had the PPE we needed. We would get suited up. We would put on suits that would be waterproof, like completely. It was like going in a spacesuit. So yeah, you had everything you needed to be protected, but just the fact that I would be put in harm's way just so that I could, get some money so that I can make money for school. It was kind of bumming me out.
You can
So
expose yourself to something for life that will kill you, that you won't be alive to use your career for in the end.
yeah, so that's when I was like, well, is there something in this industry that isn't gonna mess up my body? And then I started understanding how deeply ingrained it is in modern agriculture, how we have to test like, this is a part of testing soils. This is a part of testing the tissues, uh, to make sure that they don't have diseases. This is developing the spinosad. This is where spinosad comes from a lab, from one of these labs. So a lot of stuff like that is where I was looking more towards. And yeah, I'm glad I did, because it gave me a lot more frame of reference. I came into like the modern cannabis stuff and I started looking around at like all the stuff. I was like, oh, tissue culture. Yeah, I've read about that. And then at the time, everyone was like, oh, it's crazy, man. You could do this. And I was like, yeah, I know. I have training to do this. And every time it would just blow people away, like, no way, you could do this. And once I would
Yeah.
tell,
So
yeah,
are you doing tissue culture right now? Are you doing that? Is that play around with that?
I I have been looking into it. I've been doing a lot of reading. I have not even touched a single tube or tried to make a cutting for that specifically. I took a bunch of cuttings recently, just so that I could have, well, yeah, I took cuttings because I wanted those cuts. These are things that I've been growing, that really stood out. It was Irie Genetics Double Dragon. I really like that it was, somebody can correct me uh, with what's in the background, but it was something uh, from Africa, an African
Oh,
strain.
cool. Okay. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I'll have to look it up.
That's okay. That's okay. We won't quote you. It's all good.
But yeah, I really liked it. And also my friend from Oregon, he actually sent me this cross between that he made, and it's called Blue City Diesel. The cross is Blue City Diesel by Blue Skunk, and it's number 3. So it's whatever number 3 that was working out for him. And yeah, I really loved it. It took up so much of my tent, but it was literally like triple the yields. Like triple the
Wow.
yields, skunky,
Nice.
diesely, greasy, everything a California kid would love. Uh,
Nice. And you would know if you're in Cali, you know, because you've been around it.
yeah, I'm not ashamed to say that that's those are the flavors that really get me medicinally. They really calm down my
Nice.
nerves. I have had a couple of injuries. I used to do some heavy weight training, and you know, it gets to you. It takes its toll on your body. I'm glad I don't do that anymore. I do like kinesthetics, more focused on in like yoga and stuff. But I just love the feeling that I get from that. I actually have some, and I puffed out some, and instantly made me feel more relaxed, and just all my muscles just instantly, all the energies just really relax.
Very cool. I love
Yeah.
that. I love that when you can just puff on something instantly and just feel that tension lift and just go away. Doesn't it feel amazing?
Yeah, I love it. And I was basically taking all those cuts so I can have those backups, and I wanted some extra backups so I could just do a little bit more experimenting and take cuts from something that I know that is not going to be a big deal, because I have two other cuts of that just hanging out. And yeah, I wanted to do some tissue culture. And
Very cool.
basically from what I've been reading, uh I can put out a recipe for it in a little bit. I have it in my bookmarks. But yeah, it's very simple. You just take a cutting like you normally would. Uh, let's see. I should probably start off in the beginning. Tissue
Oh, that's
culture.
okay. That's okay.
Yeah,
We can actually go down a road that you do know a lot about. So you've been are you growing mushrooms right now? Do you want to talk about mushrooms? I mean, I think
yeah,
you're kind of hinting around. I mean, obviously we got the mushrooms in the background. We talked about microdosing earlier. You want to talk about that?
yeah. I
Let's
missed a
do
little
it.
bit of microdosing talk, but I'm glad to be in the conversation to bring it up again. That's actually why I got into it. I, like a lot of people, have been following Paul Stamets' work, and uh, for example, his meeting with Joe Rogan on his podcast. I watched both of those, and both times I was blown away with all the knowledge that he was just putting out, and that's what really made me go full on mushroom. Like I had my own stuttering issues when I was younger. I went through speech therapy, and that helped me out. I was nowhere near what Paul was. I could still speak and everything when I really needed to, but everything he was saying was true. When you're put in a stressful situation, people start stuttering, and the best thing for someone to do is to not try to talk over them and let them finish up. And it was just so mind-boggling to hear him say, like, oh yeah, you really, he would say that it still comes up for him, and that he just slows down his speech and just lets his mind catch up with his mouth. And that's all it is. You're just thinking too fast. It's just too much going on, and you're trying to burp it all out at all at once, and it's just not necessary. That's not how anyone works, and no one expects you to do that, so you don't have to feel obligated to anyone to do any kind of speech. You could talk slow, you could talk a little fast. It's just all how you feel comfortable. So have that frame of mind for anyone who deals with any kind of speech issues. Just one word at a time. You're all good. uh, i've
I
I've yeah.
100% agree. And I would not have noticed that you actually have one, dude. You were like, you're talking so well. And I really love hearing everything you're talking about right now. So,
Oh yeah, I basically got rid of it at the time when I was younger. But I do hear what, when Paul was mentioning, like, oh, it still comes up sometimes, even though he got rid of that with his, I don't even know if I should say macro dose. That's just a whole nother dosage level on its own. But yeah, when I heard about that story that he was talking about, I was like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. It basically calms down the nerves. And when he was showing the graph of how your of the brain's CAT scan on psilocybin and someone without psilocybin. Without the psilocybin, all the nerves were firing. It was just basically orange, and inactive means blue or purple, like BK's signature. And when it went to the psilocybin, you would think, oh, it must be like Christmas lights. And it's not. It's actually shutting so much stuff down. So it's really interesting that that was brought up. I don't know what it means necessarily. I think it just means that it's, when I was hearing Paul talk, it's almost like it's calming all your nerves down. Like it's shutting stuff down that doesn't need to be there. And it's interesting that that happens, because if you were to experience what's going on, you know, personally, it doesn't feel like that whatsoever. So it just got me thinking to like, what is experience? You know, if that's what we're experiencing when our brain is tuned down, what are we tuning out? Like that's crazy. How is this being toned down? This is toned down. There's mushrooms everywhere. We're in a mushroom forest, you know, just like uh I found that really interesting. So yeah, that's how I got into mushrooms, and I started doing some more reading. If anyone wants to get into mushrooms and can't afford any literature that I'm about to say, just let me know and I'll guide you to something affordable. But the books I've been reading have been Peter McCoy's Radical Mycology. I really recommend him. He follows some permaculture principles, and he, unlike Paul Stamets, uh, Paul does a great job of telling stories and getting people active and understanding what's going on and why it's important. Uh, Peter Peter gets down, like he gets down on the floor with you and like crisscross applesauce style, and just like, hey, let's talk about mycology in a way that you can understand. And he has diagrams on there. He puts it as simply as you can. Uh, all of this stuff can be done in your kitchen, you guys. You don't need a. Uh, so first off, a kitchen is a lab, right? It's a food lab. You're taking your you're taking a raw piece of protein, chicken. Sorry for any people that are vegetarian, but this is just a quick run through what's going on. You're taking that protein, you're changing its structure with heat, right? You need to have a way of controlling that. That's an oven, that's a stove. All of these things are what you can find in a lab. Working in a lab and doing all of my learning and training in there, it just amazed me. Like even when I mentioned this to my professor, my biotech professor, he was like, huh, you're right. Uh, a kitchen is a lot like a lab. It has to be sterile to an extent. It has to have surfaces where you can clean everything off easily. It has to have space for you can have easily access storage. Has everything you need. So yeah, I basically learned a lot from Peter McCoy's book, Radical Mycology. I'm like 90% done with that. I really need to finish it up. Uh, I need to, I also got the book, Organic Mushroom Farming and Mycoremediation. So mycoremediation just means like we can clean up oil spills with oyster mushrooms, to put it simply. So that's what Paul Stamets' work was in. He's the person that cleaned up the BP oil spill, that helped clean it up. And it's still being used. Mushrooms are used in every aspect of life. If you have clean clothes right now, it's probably because you cleaned them with washing detergent. Those enzymes in that detergent are made from fungi, just so you know. this is all done in a huge lab vat. They make the fungi and then they separate the enzymes out away from them, and then they use that for different things, like in this case, detergent. And yeah, it's so fascinating. It's everywhere. Fungi is everywhere. Everyone has had. I also am into fermenting foods as well, so that's microbes are everywhere and they're prevalent in everything. If you think you've never had fermented food, you're wrong. It's everywhere. Coffee. Have you ever had coffee? That's fermented. Chocolate. That's fermented. What else? Cheese, that's a fermented product. Yogurt, fermented. Tea,
Sour cream,
sour
kombucha,
cream,
which I love
kombucha.
kombucha.
Yeah, actually, after not having it for the week, I had still got the bottle right here. Uh, I really like the brand GTS.
Ooh,
They're
that's
local.
synergy.
Yeah, they're local to. I believe they're from Los Angeles, or at least the the maker of it all. And yeah, it's called Divine Grape. I really recommend it. I got it for a family member, and she was like, "Oh,
Okay,
this is
so
crazy! It's so good."
isn't that one have alcohol in it?
Yeah. So, oh,
Because
thank you for mentioning
I found a
alcohol
grape
microbes.
one. I found an alcohol. I didn't really want to consume alcohol as a kombucha. And so I found that I have to be careful looking for kombucha because they've started making some that have alcohol in them. Because I
Yeah.
was asked for my card and I'm like, I'm not buying any alcohol. Why are you carding me?
So you see these black tops with this
Yes.
specific brand. These black tops mean that they have a higher alcohol content. If you're not too into that flavor with it, I don't really like alcohol. I sometimes put Irish cream in my coffee if I want a little bit more flavor and just like, oh, it's Friday, whatever. Not too big on alcohol. I personally think the human race wouldn't be here without alcohol because so many more people have died from bad water than all the wars combined from drinking bad water. So we needed alcohol to actually be able to survive. Uh, so yeah, that
But
being
at the
said,
point
we're
when
in
we
modern
needed
age
alcohol, yeah,
when
in
we needed it.
moderations, and also
Yeah,
we needed it because they had to go across the seas and we didn't have the sterilizing and we had to have beers. You
exactly.
know, kids actually consume beers because that's what they had to do. But
Oh yeah.
the see now I struggle with the alcohol because like that alcohol is just a serious depression for me and like I feel like okay
No, I 100%
I'm
get it.
microdosing because it's helping my depression. So when I consume alcohol, you know, why am I doing that? So I've really had to quit, you know. So I've started with kombucha. So I
Yeah,
love
that's
kombucha.
great. A lot of people are confused when it comes to alcohol's standing. Alcohol is a depressant, even though, some people drink it and like, oh, party,
At the
which is
time
cool.
it feels good. It's that sugar
Yeah,
high, baby.
definitely at the time. It feels like you're just taking more time from another point of time and just adding it on. Just like, oh yeah, what would have been okay is now great, but now it's gonna be meh. For me personally, uh I don't consume, so a little bit gives me a little a buzz. So I'm always the one at the party like, no, I'm good. They offer me a beer. I'm a social drinker, and I'll just have one beer. And there's only if there's tacos and pizza, because I can't handle those flavors without like something greasy. That's just me. Uh, but yeah, I uh, it was important at the time. I totally agree. We wouldn't be here without it. But no, personally, I don't need it, especially since I have cannabis and I'm looking more into microdosing. So back into the mycology, after learning about all that stuff from Paul Stamets, I read the Radical Mycology that I'm 90% done with. It's a big book. It's a textbook for mycology. I'm not kidding here. It's a textbook for mycology. Peter McCoy is opening the first mycology school. So please keep an eye out, like, for this guy's name, Peter
Where
McCoy.
at?
I need to look into it. It's probably the PNW, because it's the Pacific Northwest, like Washington and
Right.
Oregon area.
Yeah, I was kind of
That,
curious. I'm kind of
that
wondering if it's like going to be Oregon. It would
yeah,
seem.
most likely it's either going to be North Oregon or South Washington.
I think
Uh,
Oregon's up for vote right now on the mushroom thing. So I'm kind of wondering.
yeah,
Yeah.
they needed, like, what was it, 100,000, and they got 160
So
petition
they're
signed.
up to vote. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're up
It's
to
going to go to
vote.
vote. Yeah.
That's awesome. I was following it. I follow Maps, and I also follow Dr. Bronner's. I use Dr. Bronner's for everything. I have really bad skin. Once I started using, it's funny, I didn't start using Dr. Bronner's until I started growing. Like, and
Okay. I've never used it. All right. Let's talk about it. DK. Do you use it? Kathy, do you use it? I bet DK does.
I have a bottle of the unscented Dr. Bronner's up in the cupboard, but it's, I mean, I have a transport biopic foliar as well for a,
yeah, I was just mentioning it, like, not so much for the plants. Me
Exactly.
personally, I have bad skin. It's super moisturizing. It's literal hemp soap.
I did not
Like,
know that.
yeah,
Okay.
it's made from hemp. It's that they extract the oils from there, and so they have a coconut fat and hemp oil. So the coconut oil, I should say, and the hemp oil. And yeah, I used to have really bad skin condition, and now I don't. It's really nice. Yeah, I get the peppermint, and it's so nice in the summer. I use that. It's up to you. They have a bar soap. So if you want to have it outside, you have an outside shower or something or whatever, it's really nice. They have bar soaps or liquid soaps. It's up to you. Figure out what you want. I recommend buying both and trying them out. And I just have a washcloth. I suds up my hand. I put those suds on a washcloth, scrub my neck and my face. Uh, and with the peppermint in the summertime, it's better than air conditioning. I'm not joking. It feels so good. If you were just working out in the garden and you have all these scrapes and scratches from, like, pulling out weeds or whatever, wash your hands with that. It takes away all the inflammation, any itching or irritation. It just goes away. I've been using it for everything. I clean my bathroom with it. I was cleaning my fruit with it, but if you get, like, a scented one like peppermint, it'll get on your, like, apple. Like, I noticed that your apple skin is going to taste like lemon tea. So get the unscented uh baby formula one. That I just really like it. I've even been I have this dry herb vape from Underdog Vapes. It's just this little unit, and you have to use this little glass piece that's gauged. Here, there's a gauge. There, that part's gauged, and you can just. Oh, thank you. Yeah, this part's gauged, and it has a little screen in there, and you just pop it through. It's just like a straight shooter. And I actually only need a little bit of alcohol mixed in. I use baking soda and just table salt. So baking soda is sodium bicarbonate. So that just means it's salt, and it's micronized salt. So it gets into all the little spaces that would really take you a longer time to get. If you ever, uh, what's it called? If you ever gone and looked for something to clean up with, probably you've seen uh, your mom and your dad get this powder, and it's like bartenders cleaning powder. And you
Oh,
just
like
put it on there.
Comet or something
Yeah,
like that.
so it's like Comet, but Comet has chlorine in it.
Yeah,
So if you were
I
just
know.
so all you need is just baking soda, and you can just put that on there, and it'll take out any smell. And I mean, don't get me wrong, it'll take you a little bit longer because you really have to put in some elbow grease, but you're not going to be smelling all of these things. I would just put a little bit of alcohol and some vinegar, and it cleans up a lot of the grime that I get from my dryer vape. But I've noticed when it comes to like I don't smoke anymore. I just do dry or vape hits. And when I was trying to clean out an old glass piece when I used to smoke, it doesn't work as well as just straight alcohol and salt. So if you have a vape, try it out with that other solution. It's really nice. I literally just cleaned this little piece out like not too long ago, like a couple hours ago. And it's nice. It don't need to be done like every 3 or 4 days, just depending. But I do a full-on cleaning of my. I have a 2-footer, so I just do a full cleaning with soap and Dr. Bronner's. And yeah, it's really nice. It gets it nice and clean. Any of those oils that you put on it for like the week or whatever gets off. I really like it. Anything that I use on my skin, anything I touch, yeah, I wash with that. Especially I've been washing my hands, and I don't know about you guys, but my hands get really bad. They're almost at the point of bleeding. I uh when I was doing my training for biotech and everything, I would have to be sterile and clean as much as I can. So I'd clean with their soap, and it's a whatever they put in there, it's obviously disinfectant as well.
Yeah.
But I
And
would
it
clean that.
just dries and cracks your hands and
So it not just only dries, you would put the soap on and it would sting.
burn. It
It,
burn
yeah, burn.
antiseptic. Yeah.
Exactly. So it disinfects and cleans, this soap. It doesn't have a disinfectant in it. It does what soap is supposed to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I really recommend this, and especially nowadays when we're just cleaning so much, you don't need chlorine. Just suds it up, put it
It's
on a
that
towel.
smell though, like you get
I can't stand it.
it's that psyche smell. Like, see, I think when I smell like chlorine, I think it smells clean to me. And that's that psyche, right? But lemon smells amazing. Like, I love lemon. Lemon's way cleaner
They have
and
lemon Dr.
citrus. And
Bronner's.
yeah, I know that. And
Yeah,
so like, I
yeah.
checked it out. I'm like, as you told me, I'm like, I took it in Bronner's. I'm like, okay, I'm
Mhm.
putting it on my list. I'm going to buy it.
Yeah, they have
So
so many different scents. They have
we'll have to try it.
rose. They have
And you're not the first person that's told me to try it. So finally, you're the first person that's going to get me to buy it. So see, guys, it's that one person. You never know who that one person's going to be.
yeah, I've been washing, like I use that as my shower wash, my shower body wash, my face wash, my hand soap. Uh and like I said, I have really bad skin, and I used to need like a lot of lotion just to make sure that it doesn't like crack and bleed and stuff. But
That's amazing.
now
Yeah.
I don't have to. Everything's hydrated. I've also
Cool.
changed my diet more to where I'm drinking more water and everything. So obviously that's a consideration as well. But man, I really love that soap. I'm actually, when I get more experience with my mycology, I want to look more into that, into using that to cleaning out the surfaces and stuff, because it will disinfect and everything. But maybe I just need to do that and like a little bit of alcohol or chlorine
Yeah.
instead of like drenching chlorine everywhere. Maybe just do an initial cleaning of getting all the dirt, like, because that'll be better to get the dirt off.
Yeah.
So as much as I can include it, I'm definitely gonna, but I'm sticking more towards chlorine. I had to buy a lot of chlorine, which I don't like. But in order to do the things that I need to do in mycology, I need to have a sterile surface uh, and a sterile workspace with sterile tools. So let's get into the details. How I started was I used a container, like a see-through container that you would put your wintered clothes in when it's summertime, like just a 56-gallon tote, basically. I cut 2 holes in them, right on one side, just 2 big holes, big enough for you to put your arms through and move around a little bit. So this is called an SAB, or still air box. And this is going to be your workstation. This
And
is
for
going to
those of
be,
you that are kind of new to this, everybody's seeing a baby in an incubator, right? Where they have the gloves in. Picture that. That's what you're working in the environment, right? Is that kind of what
yeah,
we're
you're basically
Okay, there
working
you
in an
go.
incubation chamber where you don't want whatever's in there is all you want to cultivate and make sure you keep alive, and make sure nothing else comes in there, because whatever pathogen is going to come in is just going to overpower the immune system of what's in there. Now, that being said, mushrooms grow in the forest. They're obviously not in a sterile condition. This is just our understanding so far. This part of science is just starting to see the light of day. Like, we know so very little. And same with microbiology. Like, this is microbiology, actually. This is a small segment of microbiology, and we already know that we know very little of microbiology. So if some stuff doesn't make sense to you, it's okay. It doesn't make sense because we don't know a lot about it. And whatever doesn't make sense to you and there's an answer, it's okay. Just take your time, talk around with people. There's a just what I was really excited for was there's just a big a community in the mycology sphere as there is for cannabis, like both growing for medicinal reasons in terms of growing reishi or lion's mane, or the microdosing sphere. There's the party community on both ends, so you're going to find those nothing wrong with Grateful Dead, but you're definitely going to find some deadheads, and you're definitely going to find some people that are just like, no, I'm a biologist and I just love doing all this stuff. I'm kind of in the middle. I'm like, yeah, I'll listen to Dead while I'm working in the lab. So yeah, you're definitely going to find people on all different parts of the spectrum. Don't worry about it. You're going to find lots of friends. Just be nice, be respectful, just like how you are here. There's going to be dickheads, just like how there is everywhere. We're humans. There's this, it kind of sucks, but it's innate. You're going to have a couple of those people. So yeah, don't take anything too personally. If you have some person being an idiot, let them put out those vibes and you can put out something better. So yeah, you got your still air box, your little incubation chamber. Now how I did it, most people won't recommend how I'm doing it right now. I'm at the first steps of my plan. So let me describe my plan, and then I'll describe what most people should be doing if they have no experience whatsoever. So what I'm doing is I'm working with agar. Agar is basically a seaweed, is basically made from seaweed, and it's called agar agar. And this seaweed we take, and we take it, we dehydrate it, and then depending on how you can find it, if you have a little Asian market around you, go to that Asian market, or it might be better off if you call them first. No matter what, call before you waste money on driving and time. So call them up, ask if they have agar agar. They'll say yeah. You'll get it in this little package that has these flakes, and that's the seaweed. So it's all dehydrated. There's no moisture in there. So you can throw it in a blender and you can powderize it. Now you could do that, or you could just buy it. Agar agar is used in a lot of different things. So if you've ever had vegan gummies, that's the gelatin material that you get in the vegan gummies. And if you've ever gone to the doctor because you have a little itch in your throat, or you feel sick, and they swab your cheek or whatever, This is what they put the cheek swab on, that material. And it'll grow in
Yeah, I
this.
was just going to share. Actually, they have it at a lot of health food stores as well for thickening things and natural
Yeah,
thickening for gravies and
pick
different
it up.
stuff. So,
Definitely
yes,
pick it
yeah.
up. You can, they use it in biology, well, in the medical industry to check strep throat. Just like I was mentioning, they take your sample, your swab, they put it on the agar, and then it grows out, and they're able to identify what you have because of that. And it's very useful. So it's also used in mycology. And what I'm doing with it is I get a liquid culture spore syringe. So in this in this syringe is a water solution, and this water solution also has spores in it. Now the spores come from whatever fungi you're looking into. I did uh, lion's mane, pink oysters, and some other exotic stuff. Uh, and I actually just did a checkup today, and I want to take some pictures tonight because I want to do I'm going to be doing some transfers. So what I did is I put that liquid spore syringe solution onto these agar plates. I made some agar plates. I instead of buying like the literal plates, I bought these little condiment containers that are these little cups, little condiment cups. And yeah, like what you would put your ketchup in, when you go to whatever restaurant you like and get your fries out of. So yeah, I put the agar on that. I made the agar. If you can make Jello, you can make agar. Okay, it's not hard. It's a very simple recipe. If you actually want to look and see how to make it and work with it, I am working on. I'm have a post on my Instagram about it.
I was going to say, you have it on your Instagram. I was just going to bring up your Instagram. Do you mind if I show your Instagram here in a minute?
Yeah, please do.
Okay,
No
go
problem.
ahead and keep talking. I'll bring it up.
Yeah, so that's perfect. Just bring up the pictures and I can explain everything from there. So I put them in the uh let's see. I bought the agar in a powdered form actually. And you can buy it at a health food store, just like Tara said. And that's actually where I bought it, was in a food um section of Amazon, because everywhere I checked in, like Whole Foods and Sprouts and all those whole paycheck kind of places, have they don't have it. I checked them all, and it was unfortunate. So I had to use the internet. I don't like using Amazon, but I will use it when I need to. Uh, so yeah, I got it in the powdered form. It's pretty cheap. I mean, $16 can get you like a year's worth. It just depends how much you work with it. I'll probably need to replace it in like 4 months because I want to do a lot of work. I would like to do a lot of work on agar. And why I chose agar is because, just like in testing for strep throat, you can see what's going on. If you have a syringe of liquid culture, you don't know what happened in that lab when they took up whatever lab conditions, whatever, however you got that. You don't know what happened. You don't know their methodologies. You don't know what they were doing, was going on. If even what happened to me personally when I was working with it is I had everything set up, everything was clean, and I left my window open. Big no. You want everything closed. You want to work in your bathroom as much as possible. Oh, cool. So yeah, uh, I took the powdered agar. I measured out 500 milliliters of water. Uh, some people say that you're gonna need um, distilled water, and that great. So yeah, it's you get that agar powder, and you can get this malt extract. This is called malt MEA, malt extract agar. And you just take the powder of agar, you put it, you warm up that 500 milliliters of water, and you mix it with the malt extract that was in the other picture. And that malt extract is gonna be what's uh, giving your fungi their nutrients. So you mix that together. That's this whole growing media solution. Uh, yeah, I made sure it was warm water. That picture before was showing the pressure cooker. I really recommend getting a pressure cooker. I knew from the get-go that I was going to go all the way. That's why I bought the pressure cooker. If you are just working with this stuff, just trying to figure out if you're okay with working with it, don't get it. It's $80. I could afford it. It's, not that big of a deal. There's much more complicated pressure cookers out there, but this is basically your what we would call an autoclave in the lab setting. But basically, this is just a pressure cooker. It's sterilizing your agar. So I mixed up the agar, I put it in a mason jar, I put a lid on it. That lid, I had drilled a hole so that when it goes into being sterilized, it doesn't explode from the pressure. And I put tinfoil on top of that so that no water goes into the agar and messes up with the solutions mix. So yeah, uh, as you can see, this box is uh, everything you see here is in the box. That last picture is everything out of the box and everything that I was done with. This is just me making the agar and setting them up on what they'll just call it Petri dishes. So I just made the Petri dishes, and I didn't do a video of the spore inoculation on the agar, but you basically just wait for these to cool down. They'll cool down they'll be ready to work in a couple hours, basically. Yeah, that was some mushrooms from my backyard while I was doing yard work. Yeah, so I pour the agar into the cups. Be very careful. I have a laser thermometer gun. So I waited till it was like 180 degrees to work with. It's going to be way too hot if you do it any other way. And I would pour from the jar onto each cup. And what I did is I actually lifted up the cup to the jar, to the opening of the jar, so I wouldn't have to do this like just in case I over poured, it wouldn't be a big massive over pour. And yeah, that's how I made the agar cups, the agar petri dishes. And from there, I got my liquid culture syringe. This was the next night that I did this. So I waited till everything was cool. You could probably do this within 6 hours. I was just waiting because it's summertime and I don't like working during the day when it's more warm. We try to cut back on the AC here just because of how much it costs. And I don't really like AC. Unless I'm like in a building with a bunch of people. And even then it freaks me out because I'm like, I'm just breathing everything everyone else is. I'd rather be next to a tree. But yeah, I like to work at night. Think of making bubble hash. Do you want to work when it's in a cool area because it gets really warm? Personally, so the space that you saw me working in is my bathroom. And I recommend the bathroom just like a lot of people because it's an area that you can totally clean. You can make it nice and as clean as you can make it. Make sure to wipe down. If it's been a while, wipe down your walls, get any dust that might be on the walls. You don't need disinfect it really. Just get a towel that's has a little bit of soap, you know, Dr. Bronner's, and you can wipe it down. It's going to smell nice. Uh, and it's not going to necessarily disinfect, but at least it's not going to have all of these dust particles that when you breathe, they'll pick up and they might go onto your surface, even though you have a still air box. You have to really make sure that you're in sterile conditions. Now, I've been looking at different methodologies. Maybe I should wait till the end to mention them, but yeah, this isn't the only way to do it. There's lots of ways to do it that's not exactly sterile. I've seen people set up their mushroom stuff and it's outside. It's outside in their backyard and they just uh it's a method using limestone. And you know, you could do that, but I would just rather boil the material instead of chemically changing them. You can also do a uh it was really weird when I saw it, but it's you can totally do it. It's the fermentation method. And you're basically soaking, we'll use a straw for this example. You take straw, you put it in water, in a barrel of water or whatever container, and that will make it ferment. And that will kill off all of the pathogens that are negative to that uh, to growing in mycology. And it's really interesting. So like if you want to do oyster mushrooms and you have a lot of material to go through, you don't have to do all this work for sterilization in that term, in terms of getting a pressure cooker and having to put in all of this fossil fuels to warm everything up. Yeah, there's a lot of different methods. If you can integrate solar in any of this, I totally recommend it. That's where I want to get into. Fix up a solar panel and have that connected to some lights and some fans. And it's basically self-sufficient from there. If I want to throw in some AC to change it up, that's up to you. But it'll definitely increase yields if you make a stable and growing environment for your mushrooms. Just like cannabis has a sweet spot, but also too, remember guys, cannabis grows in the middle of boulders of crevices up in a high cliff. You know, it can do anything. So the fact that we're babying the cannabis like we do, I think it's a detriment. I mean, if you have this really uh this plant that gives you some great medicine and you have to make sure that you have it because it's a life or death kind of thing, I get it. You know, or if you're breeding and you need to make sure that you have people relying on you for these genetics, yeah, baby it because you have people relying on you. But overall, I don't think the babying is necessary if you're
A
growing
good
outdoor.
a good genetic or outdoor, like you're saying, I think like it's really making sense. This is kind of bringing it back full circle here. We have Dragonfly on here. We're going to be checking in with them soon. They plant right into the soil, in their living beds, and they say they literally say they get thousands of seeds from people, and they throw their seeds in there, and they literally don't really
Open
know
pollination.
or look at them, and they say the survival of the fittest. They don't baby their seeds, they don't baby their genetics, and unfortunately, I think we're coming into an era where we've had to baby our seeds. And I'm going to speak past tense. I'm not even totally in there, because I know a lot of people have fought through this and have had to sacrifice and save these seeds, and they've had to take care of that seed, because they haven't had seeds like we're seeing now, and have the opportunity to the seeds that we're having now. So I can see where they've had to baby them, but like we are seeing this whole new area, what you're talking about, like you don't think it's good that we're babying them, and I think that that's because maybe the genetics were weaker, or maybe they talk about herms, or different stuff like that. I don't know. DK, do you want to jump in here on any of this, or Kathy, please? You guys don't feel like you
Yeah, please
So I
add on
definitely
with
agree.
questions. If you guys
I
have any
definitely
questions, I'd
agree.
be happy to answer.
Well, with a nice diverse living soil, you're going to have nice strong plants as well. And if you have good genetics, you've done your homework and sourced proper gear, then yeah, like pretty well you just like I just add a little bit of trellising and stuff to help for the big breaks because they get pretty burly up there and we get some pretty vicious winds around here. But that being said, they take up to the winds pretty well, no problem. I've never seen any wind burn or any issues along those lines to a degree, right? If you have a hurricane or something coming, you're gonna have some problems. But yeah, if you can have that large diversity, you're going to be pretty happy. And proper genetics, right? Just do your homework, right? Just like we were talking about with Kathy earlier at the beginning, she just has learned so much about the whole spectrum of things. It just comes together, and you've got an amazing product, and yeah, it's awesome. But I've got to hop right away here, so I'm going to take off and leave you guys to it.
Hey, DK, we're going to finish up here shortly too, but thanks for joining us and showing us your grow. I really appreciate it. And we'll definitely be seeing you back back next week on the panel.
As always, I love to chat with you ladies, and it was really nice to hear from you, Raptor. I can't wait to talk more and maybe do like a whole Myco episode because you've clearly got tons and tons to talk about with it. And it's like, yeah, I'd love to hear more. So cheers.
Great. Cheers.
Thanks, DK. We'll see you
and
later.
bye, chat. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Anyone that's stuck around for now, I'm horrible with check-in. I'm trying to tune in, a little bit, but peace and love, everyone.
Bye. So Raptor, wow, like I really didn't plan on going this long. Everybody in chat, yes, thank you for checking in and hanging out there. I see there is a question out there. They want to know, is there an expiration date on the, I'm guessing the agar?
Yeah, once you make it, you basically have 30 days window to do whatever you need to do. And I believe that's without refrigerating. So if you refrigerate it, it'll give you a longer shelf life. I personally need to check up on that shelf life. But yeah, you have a 30-day window to do what you need to do. I made all of my agar like a week and a couple days ago, and I only went through that 500. If you use the materials that I used and you use the recipe I give out, that 500 milliliter agar solution should make at least 30 petri dishes, agar petri dishes. So that's more than enough for everyone to use up. So just to clarify, I'll make it, I'll pick it up a little bit. You use the still air box after you use the still air box to pour in the agar, just like I was mentioning before. And to work on it, you use the still air box as well with the spore syringe. You just make a little abrasion in the agar dish, in the agar itself, and then you inject a little bit. But before you do that, you make sure everything's sterile. You take your needle, you get a lighter, or if you have a little special candle that can work off an ethanol, preferably because of the way it burns. You sterilize it by a heat sterilization method. And you just go back and forth, just making sure you get everything. And then you can touch the agar. Then it's safe to do it. You don't have to worry for it to cool off. It'll actually cool off if you touch the agar. You'll hear a little sizzle. It's perfectly normal, and you can do that. And then you inject just one tiny little drop onto the agar that you just put some abrasion on. You want that abrasion because you want that little drop to sink in to that area, and it'll stay center. And it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfectly center. This is just so that you can have you let your mycelium grow out in a circle the way it naturally wants to. And this is just so you're not putting it off to the side and it'll grow on the sidewalls. You want it to grow on the media so it gets the nutrients it needs. Yeah. And I accidentally put a little bit too much liquid on mine. It's been a couple of years since I've worked with any lab kind of way. I've been messing around with out in the garden doing farming. So I need to fine tune my technical skills. So yeah, you just want to put a tiny little drop on there. And this is perfect because you don't need that much. This is why I'm using agar. You can look at how it grows out, and you can see if that person who made that liquid solution for you, that syringe, actually did their job right. If you did everything you needed to do in terms of sterilization and doing all the techniques you needed to, that petri dish should come out perfectly clean with nothing but mycelium. If everyone did their jobs right, the person that you acquired that syringe from, or on you as well. And even,
So I'm
go ahead.
totally new to this growing thing of mycelium and like, the whole that's like, this is really cool. So how like often does it happen that it's not that they don't really do the right job? They didn't really send you the right cultures or whatever, however you describe that.
It depends. I got mine from a source that was a little iffy. So this is why I'm doing this especially. If you look up Willie Myco, WILLYMYCO, he's the one that's recommended this uh, in his videos, because of what I was just saying. You don't know what you're getting in that liquid culture. It could be E. coli for all you know, that's swimming around in there. So that's why you get that little petri dish and it'll show you. And not only that, you can actually, from what I've learned on a different person YouTube channel, Home Mycology, he curses a lot, so deal with it if you're looking into him. But you can take that infected spot and you can put hydrogen peroxide or iodine, and that'll kill off the infected spot. And you're going to actually want to, from there, cut out the mycelium that is around there in that same place. And make sure that you do all of your clean agar work first, and then you go to the nasty agar stuff. Hey, it happens. I checked up on mine, and my lion's mane one, it was fighting off this big green mean thing. I was like, ooh, I'm glad I am not opening that right now. And just so you guys know, your mushrooms, your fungi have the ability to fight these things off on their own. But we want our mushrooms now. We want to hurry things up and get things going. So I'm going to use that method of hydrogen peroxide, and they will actually, what's super fascinating is that the fungi will take that hydrogen peroxide, they'll break it into the molecules that they need, and they use it to grow. So hydrogen peroxide is the molecule is H2O2. So it just breaks it down to water, guys. It changes from H2O2 to H2O. Or if it needs some more oxygen, it'll break it down even more, whatever it needs. So yeah, that's how you can clean it up. And to answer your question, Tara, of how often does this happen, it's where you get your source. It's where you source from. So if you have someone who knows what they're doing, they've done this for a couple of years, and you're sure of it, it could be 100% times that they'll never give you something bad. Me, I got mine, I'll just say it, I got mine off Reddit. So if you type in spore traders / spore traders on Reddit, you can find a lot of vendors that will sell whatever fungi you need, whatever fungi you're interested in. I was interested in a psilocybin species, so that's what I went with. And yeah, I was just being super careful. And the ones that I'm doing, I'm actually working with cultures from some Reddit sources, a source from my friend in Michigan, who I don't know where he got his liquid culture, but he was sending me his genetics so that I could help him expand and make it a little better. Excuse me. So take those and you can clean them up and you can transfer them to a new agar dish. And then that will be growing out. And that actually might be what you want. You want it to experience the infection. So now it knows what to do. And now it knows like, oh, I'm probably going to get some hydrogen peroxide soon. So I'm going to hold up my defense until then. And then I could use that hydrogen peroxide later. And so that's why like agar, you can take the mycelium that has experience, that has the genetics you want. So let's say you got this big mushroom, like that was the size of your arm. You're like, yeah, that's 1 in a million. I want those genetics. You can take a piece of that mushroom, put it on agar, that same agar solution, and it'll grow more. It'll grow a clone.
Oh, way, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. So
Yeah.
all I
And then
need
you can
is some
separate
fresh,
it
all
and
I
make
need is a
more.
fresh mushroom head to put my own spores on my own agar.
Yeah, you can
Kind
use
of, right? I don't know.
yeah, there's different methods you can do that, and I don't see a problem with that. But there's like, let's say if you just got a head, there's gills on that head, and those gills produce spores. So you might be culturing spores and that, so you're getting all this mix of stuff. So what people do is they take the stem, and then they cut out a little piece of the tissue on the inside of the stem, and then they take that and then they put it down onto the agar. And it's interesting because that's what you do. And this is tissue culture, but with fungi. And with tissue culture for cannabis, for example, you'll take the meristem that's inside the stem itself. You'll take that little piece of that, you'll put it into agar that has, now it's a different solution, a different recipe. The plant needs something different than the fungi. So this agar that's meant for plants, you put it on that, and that's how you expand. With the meristem tissue culture, that's how you get rid of a lot of viruses and a lot of pathogens. So bringing it on back to tissue culture.
Yeah, that's exactly what we talked with earlier, 710, and we were talking about that's the only way to get rid of a pathogen is to actually do the stem cell tissue culture way of bringing it out, right? To actually change it. It's very interesting. Wow, you have like filled us in with some crazy information today. Like I am like, wow, Kathy.
Yeah, thank you so much. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
Does it make you want to go mushrooms now? I'm kind of really super interested now. You got me really interested.
yeah, now
Yeah. If anyone on chat or the panel needs any help, just let me know. For a while, I took a break because I was taking 5 classes. So I was just like, I just can't put out content like I was before. I could, but I wanted to make sure that I needed to get what was done accomplished.
Yeah.
And
Priorities.
I totally did.
Priorities.
Yeah. So after that, I was done with school, and then everything happened with COVID, and I was like, wow, I'm really not putting anything out. This happened in the middle of school. Okay, that was a good time off. I needed to focus on what I needed to. But then I was just bumming. I was like, oh man, I'm just growing a mom. There's nothing really to update on. It's so for a while I was just like, what, 2 months now it's been. I haven't done any content in terms of cannabis besides taking the cuttings now. But I was just like, wow, I would really like everyone to be on the updates of what I'm going through. Maybe before I wasn't really sure if I should make another account based on mycology, and another account based on permaculture, and another account based on my tropical gardening that's going on. Like,
Yeah, it's you saying this. I struggle with the same thing. I'm like, oh, what do I talk about on my show, or who do I have on, or this? And you know what? That's why I just named it me. And you can be just Raptor Grows. That can be you, and that's just you, who you are, and who you experience. And we're all these different, diverse personalities. And you'd be so surprised how much we're so intrigued by one another's personalities, because we're all linked in this very similar way. Just like you coming on here and talking about this, like, I'm like, seriously, we were actually talking about mushrooms just the other day, about growing mushrooms. And now I'm super more like this agar, like I'm really interested in that. And, you know, Kathy and I have been starting to microdose. We've been playing around with this. We're new to all this mushroom stuff, or at least I am,
You're ahead of me.
you know, so
Yeah, you're totally ahead of me on terms of microdosing. That's why I started. I actually got basically everything I needed months ago, even before the whole COVID situation. And like I mentioned before, with the whole cannabis thing, I had to hold back, even though I had what I needed, and get the knowledge.
yeah.
So before it was just like cannabis, I didn't even know where to start. So then I started looking on YouTube and stuff. And then I was introduced to the whole growing community. I was like, okay, what's going on? I would see that people have Instagram accounts. I was like, oh, cool. I didn't even know there was this whole community going on. So yeah, uh, I recommend Radical Mycology. It'll be a textbook's worth of information, but it's so worth it. You can also check out Paul Stamets' works. Uh, what was it? Running, Mycelium Running. That I think he wrote that in the 90s or something. But yeah, check out
I
his
have like
cultivation
3 of
books.
his books, and I went to go look for them, and my husband must be reading them because I told him he needed to read this stuff. So maybe he has them somewhere. But yes, Paul Stamets is a great reference, you guys. I hope everybody's already following him.
Yeah, please do follow Paul. Actually, I was gonna watch this video that he pulled up, and then I saw you guys are live, so I was like, oh, check that out. But the video is so interesting. Well, I didn't watch it, but the title was uh, how we should be basically using this time is what I could reference from his uh, the title of his video. So Paul Stamets has an Instagram and a YouTube. Check out his YouTube. He just put out a video, so I'm sure he has some words of wisdom to give out. I really like listening to him because he puts a personal touch on mycology. And in terms of Peter McCoy, he is less thrill and more like, oh hey, I'm gonna teach you how to cook. Like the kind of a person like, oh, you don't know how to cook? I'll teach you how to cook. Just like, and not make a big deal out of it. Like, oh, it's this big thing that you should have been doing forever. We all got to start somewhere. It If you're gonna start, it's better to start today. You know, if anything. So yeah, check out Peter McCoy's book, Radical Mycology. Also check out Trad Cotter is his name, Tradd. Uh, Trad Cotter, and I think it's Cotter. He's really cool. He wrote the book Mushroom Farming and Microremediation. His work is crazy, you guys. He's working on mycopesticides. So basically, you spray a solution of what this guy is making, and it infects the mushrooms like cordyceps, and no more, or sorry, it infects the insects like cordyceps and infects the insects, and it'll just make mycelium out of their carcasses. So I'm really looking into that personally. I don't know about making money off of that. I just want to do it to see if I can. I got some really bad scales that are attacking my guava trees. And yeah, they're not good. Like just these little beasts. I really want to get them. And he actually made he has done a lot of presentations on his work. So check out Trad Cotter. He's doing a lot of cool stuff. He's like I mentioned on a Fumidor's show, he'll take so you go into the doctors, you got strep throat. They'll take that swab, and instead of putting it on a agar dish, to check out what it is, they'll know, well, first they'll do that to check what it is to make sure to identify. Then they'll take they'll expand it some more of whatever that culture is, and they'll put it in a liquid, in a syringe with some water, like sterile water. They'll inject it in a mushroom grow bag. Okay. That mushroom will take whatever pathogen you're fighting, it'll come up with an antibiotic in a couple of hours, tailored to you. This is the kind of work he's doing. So please check him out. If you have the ability to buy his book, buy his book. If you don't have the ability, let me know and I'll direct you on how to get this information. I have so much literature to go through that I wasn't able to buy, but I was able to come by. And because this is such precious information to me, I do plan on buying all these books when I have the ability to.
That's
But
amazing, dude. Like, you're dropping so much knowledge. Thanks for sharing all this. Like, this is stuff that, I haven't heard of. I know a lot of my listeners are really into a lot of this stuff. We've really been talking about a lot of this stuff. I mean, wow, your passion shows. Your knowledge is amazing. I really appreciate you joining today. Thank you.
yeah, thanks for the invite. And you guys, I'm just a guy that likes plants. And I just happen to be applying some knowledge that I acquired, that I was very lucky enough to acquire through the blessings of the help of my family, that really helped me get through a lot of school and encouraged me to do everything. So school isn't for everyone. I don't recommend it if you're not passionate about whatever you're learning about. I learned that the hard way. I wasted so much of my time just doing stuff that I wasn't even passionate about. But that all leads you to somewhere. I totally recommend going for at least a year, and at least knowing that you don't want to go is even worth the price of whatever you pay, because you're like, oh, well, this isn't for me, whatever. And you don't need a college education to grow mushrooms. You don't need a college education to grow cannabis or any kind of plants. It definitely helps because you get to hear all the jargon and the new stuff that's going on with the research. I love that part. Personally, I love getting the academic side view of things, but I take that with a grain of salt. They say that we are at the peak of knowledge, but we're at the peak of ignorance as well. There's so much that we don't know, and I don't even know if we're at like 1% of what's really out there. I think that's personally exciting. Some people think that's an abyss. They get lost in the thought of like, oh, I don't know what to do with all this information. Well, no one does either. Just look at it, study it, and we'll try to understand it together.
Very
So
well
yeah,
said. Yeah, that's very well
thank you
said.
so much for inviting me.
Hey, let's hang out a little bit after the show, because I
Yeah.
think there's a couple guys that I would like you to meet after the show. I'll invite some other people on, because I don't know, they don't like to come on live, so not
Oh, no
everybody's up to
worries.
this. So please stay with us, and
Yeah.
after we go off air and go back in the comments, please, and I'll have you guys. We'll put his link up there so you can go follow him, and then you can get in contact with him, DM him on Instagram, and Kathy as well. She's also on Instagram. You can DM her. She's also on Cannabis. I am also on Instagram. It's the easiest way, I think, is for people to kind of contact us through the DM on Instagram. It's kind of been the easiest way. If you don't have an Instagram account, I do have a Gmail account. It's actually Taralee Live at Gmail. I hate to give that out because I really hate emails. So I don't always look for emails. So if you do send me an email, give me a time, because I kind of don't always answer those. But I do get back on my DMs if you guys do want to reach out. And I do check in with you, and I check back and answer questions, comments. Please, everybody, if you want to leave some comments, you want to know what people are doing, you have some more guests that you want on, you have more people you want out there, you want to get on the show, please reach out. I love you all. Thanks for hanging out with me today. And we'll probably be back next Saturday. I think we're working on next Saturday. So maybe high noon, maybe 9. I don't know. We're still working on times. So look for us. Ring that bell so you can watch us live if you want. Thanks, guys. Have a nice day. Peace, love, happiness, and healthiness.
Bye, everybody.
Go on.